Well, that's a podcast exclusive.
Be careful what you say.
Yeah. That's a podcast exclusive. They haven't got that on YouTube. Download the podcast.
I want to know what you're using. It's got to be in the 70s.
I think it was
68, apparently.
It's 68. It's still got the
Legend.
testosterone.
Legend. Congratulations, Harry.
Yes. Are we on?
We are.
Yeah, well done, Harry.
Yeah, well done.
We'll move on.
Harry Newman.
Once upon a time.
Those that just joined in, Harry Newman. We cannot be discussing anything else other than that.
It's in the paper today.
Is it in the paper?
It's in Nosy Farkas column.
Oh, relax.
Well, it must be true.
What Harry Newman is?
Yeah, let's move on.
Ex-RFL media man to be dad at 69.
That's worthy of a rugby league.
Lives at 71. That's only a joke.
There you go.
He did a great advert for Northern Upholstery when he was in his non-BBC days. It's suddenly been deleted from YouTube, sadly.
Was it?
That's what the people want.
Have you finished? Are we allowed to talk about rugby now?
What's happening in rugby? It's all crap.
What's happening? The
Leeds
London
are good
Broncos. The London Broncos.
Oh yeah,
are now the greatest team in
thank
rugby
goodness for
league.
London, because otherwise you'd have to talk about Leeds.
Golden point win for the Broncos to celebrate. We had a pint after I was there yesterday, so we brought it back. I want that one there. Don't drink that, whatever you do. Don't drink that.
Don't even open
there you
that.
go. No, well done. Bottom of the table beats top of the table. Well, Justin Holbrook got hammered last year for not resting his players. He rested a few and he's getting hammered anyway, so he can't win the lad. Well done to Danny Ward. We'll talk about London in a bit. Well-deserved victory. Leeds back-to-back wins. Well done to them as well. First time for a year. Well, hopefully the last time for two, but we'll move on. Well done to Warrington. Scoring. I watched them beat the Dragons. What the hell is happening with the Dragons in the second half? The team talks can't be any good. Hull, 35-32. Coupon busting Hull. -6 we had them. 19 up with, however, 10 minutes left. Useless. And Castleford, golden point winners. Seen running down Weldon Road with a balaclava on because they stole that game from Huddersfield. More good comments from Simon Wolford. We'll have a chat about them. What's going on at Wakefield, by the way? They're in free fall. And poor old Hull KR beaten at home by Wigan. Whose fault was it? There's been a lot of talk about that game on social media this weekend. Well done to the Bulls. They won. Dewsbury battered Rochdale. Lee battered Halifax. Featherstone won again. They're going really well under their new coach at the moment. Toronto beat Swinton. Widnes beat Barrow. And Toulouse squeaked past York on Saturday. I'll have a chat as well about League One. At Forty20 Live on Twitter. You get in touch on Facebook and on the YouTube. Subscribe, like, share, do everything you can. We are alive and kicking. Where do we want to go? What do you want to do? Have you had a good weekend?
Yeah, I thought this was the weekend that we got genuine uncertainty of outcome.
Okay.
And that when the bottom team can beat the top, all is well. That your competition is stronger than perhaps you think it is. I think the relegation battle now encompasses probably 7 teams, possibly, you could say. That even Salford and Huddersfield now might feel the heat with both Leeds and London winning. I think Golden Point raced its head again this week. 2, and it was very nearly 3 of the 6 games going to Golden Point in Super League. There are still people who don't like it. You were at London yesterday.
I was at both the Golden Point games this week.
That deserved the result, didn't it?
It did. I said on commentary with 10 minutes left, it had all the hallmarks. They were going to let it slip. They were going to... And when they scored in the corner, Richardson kicks the goal from a side. You think they're going to get mugged. They're going to get mugged. And then Saints won the toss. They got the ball first. You think they're going to get mugged. And London absolutely ripped in. McCarthy Scarsbrook dropped the ball. Then they dropped the goal. The worst drop goal you'll ever see. But it won the game, and that's all that matters. They deserved to win. But it also felt, I was there on Thursday. I thought a draw was a fair result. On Friday, I thought a draw was a fair result on Friday. It wouldn't end if you'd gone on with the point. You're going, Huddersfield were good, but didn't quite do enough to win it. And Castleford had the guts to get back into it when it looked like they'd lost it. But
I just think it justifies Golden Point this weekend, and that should be the end to the argument. That when you look at the euphoria of the London fans, it was brilliant. The magnanimity of Justin Holbrook, who said,
and the Saints fans, by the way, because I think even they were. Look, Saints are top of the tree by a distance.
They can afford to lose.
They can afford to lose a game. But the fans were brilliant. I think even they realised, and I know David Barlow does the radio, and he said, look, it'd have been a robbery if St Helens had won. And he's not biased. He's as hard as a Saints fan you're going to find.
There was an actual outcome to that 80 minutes.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Stolen it, there would have still been a talking point. And I think that's the same. Simon Wolford's comments, absolutely brilliant. after the Huddersfield. And what he wasn't saying was, oh, we've undeservedly not got a point out of this. He was just saying we'd won that game 3 times, and it's down to us that we didn't get anything out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly.
and the fact that, you know, one of the reasons that Sam Powell gave for his long-range drop goal that won the game in normal time was that he didn't think he had the energy to go into golden point extra time. So for me, it's a win.
I think as well, when you look at the London result as well, Mark, obviously you was there live, and we was all looking at it, just checking on the CFAX, you know, with the scores and coming up.
He hasn't come in on CFAX.
But the astonishing thing as well was, you know, they were 12-0 behind Daily Doors as well, weren't they? You know,
9
so,
minutes, yeah.
but that doesn't that just show you when we was at the game on Saturday, when you look at the big superstars and you look at the Catalans Dragons with the salary cap up to the hill, you look at the side like London, you know, and they're just a team who love playing for the cause, love playing for each other, and enjoy exactly what they're doing. And who would have thought before this season started? Because I would imagine majority of us, you know, there's even talk about London may not even win a game in Super League. But what odds would you have got? London have beaten Leeds, Saints, and Wigan.
And Wakey twice.
Well, what I'm saying is there between them 3 sides, 3 of the biggest sides in Super League. You know, who would have thought that before the season started? So I was saying it to Phil yesterday. I know we've got relegation, but also to what London seems to be bringing to the party, i.e. on the field. Yes, we'd love them to see them, you know, get the crowds of the 5,000 and 6,000, 7,000. But the way London have played this year, do London really deserve to be relegated?
I'd say not. I got there yesterday at 11:30, and there were about, I don't know, 100, 150 kids playing on the pitch adjacent to
doing a great job.
They had the academy game there.
They played very well, it must be said.
I didn't see that. I had a bit of a technical dilemma. I was doing a tour of London at that point, but there were lots of young people there. It was great. It was a great atmosphere, and
that is how you build crowds and awareness. Yes, the quality of the opposition that comes down that bring their fans with them, but if you can beat 3 recognised sides in a season, fans will come.
Of course they will. You know, and say, well, to be honest with you, London may not get relegated automatically, you know what I mean? But if they do finish the bottom, do they really deserve to be relegated? What they are bringing?
It raises a bigger question about what do we want from the Super League, which is something that we've spoken about for 2 or 3 years.
What do we want from Rugby League? What do people want?
That strategically London is very important, and there are things you can do in London with things like international games, that trying to bid for state of origin games that you can only do in London. There are stadia in London that we want Rugby League to be played at, like we're taking a World Cup semi-final to Arsenal. Now that's in 2 years' time, and it's not often that we know that far in advance, but we can really make something out of that because we know we're going. It'd be great if we knew that there was a game going to Tottenham against the Kangaroos, you know, next year. It would be great if, you know, we could reinvigorate Wembley, but London is a place you can do things with for the sport. We've seen stories about how a national newspaper at the moment is not covering the sport. The head office of that national newspaper is in London. Our main broadcast partner is in London, and we're desperate for a renewed deal in 2 years' time to keep the sport at the level we want it to be at. All of that you've got to do in London, whether we like it or not. And the way that they're playing, I only have one slight reservation. I don't want to rain on London's parade at all, and I think that what Danny Ward is doing is exactly what we thought he would do, and that is engendering spirit in guys who've got everything to play for. My worry is that his team already seems to be breaking up if the transfer talk is right.
Let me add to that, because I spoke to David Hughes after the game, and I'm aware, as you are, of players that have already signed for other clubs. I'm aware of other players that have been looked at by other clubs, and David Hughes said the same. So the problem I've got is I can't guarantee my players Super League Rugby. They're being offered Super League Rugby. They're going to take Super League. So you already, like you said, his squad is being broken up. And people say, well, if they finish bottom, they shouldn't be in it. But
you can't.
I don't know.
Business.
You look at the money they're spending, right? They must have a third at least of their cap space available. Yeah. They've not gone out and spent money. Ward has got the maximum out of his team. It's just a coaching great story. How he got them out of that division below, now he might keep them in. I'll tell you what he has done. He's put the pressure. I thought at the weekend when Leeds won, I thought, oh, they're alright now. They're away. You know, Wigan alright. OKR, all of a sudden,
No. Absolutely.
OKR have got to play London twice in the next, is it 5 weeks?
Yeah.
If, and it's
They go down on a week.
OKR,
A week of Thursday, Hulkins and Rovers go down.
I'm going down for the game.
But also as well, mate, another problem what David Hughes has got, and not just holding on to his players because he can't promise them Super League, Rugby League year in, year out, he's also to his coach now, because not only has he put himself in the shop window, Danny, from a point of view, but there's clubs, chasing head coaches, i.e. our as old club Leeds, they've not decided anybody yet. Hulkins and Rovers, all right, Tony's been sitting there for the short term and this sort of thing at this moment in time, but they may get relegated anyway, so London could still be in Super League from there. But the big problem is for Hughes, he's simple, is that Danny Ward, he's going to be wanted by other clubs, never mind the players.
The problem is not only that he's losing some of his players, but he also will be last in line when it comes to recruiting. So they do stay. Let's say the last game of the season, they come up with a brilliant result, they stay up. There's huge celebrations like there were last year when they beat Toronto. Who's in the market? Because everybody else in Super League seems to be signing players.
I'm just wondering there, Richie, can you just get up who Hulkins and Rovers' last game of the season is and London Broncos' last game of the season? Because if it does come to that final game, I'll tell you what, I know where my tenner's going. I know where my tenner's going. It's going to the Broncos because they were under the pressure what OKR.
No way, mate. Super League website now, so it will take me a while to do that.
Yeah, anyway.
I think that Danny Ward does have in his favour other coaches who've been linked with jobs such as at Hull KR. He's coaching Super League now for 17 games and got 5 wins. So he knows what he's doing in the top division.
I think also, the other thing that Danny Ward does as well, if not better than any other coach, is he uses that week off to maximum advantage. And yet again, I'm sure he would still like to be in the Challenge Cup and.
Well, the best thing that happened to him.
But
it's the best thing that happened to him.
I've not seen a team come out better from that week off than London. They've produced some fantastic results when he's had that extra week to work with his guys. As seen this week, because I think even Justin Holbrook thought, but even resting 5 players, that the quality he was bringing in wasn't a risk.
Look, they were 12-0 up in no time.
And it's an artificial pitch, so some of your players you do tend to rest for those games. I thought Holbrook was brilliant in the way that he wouldn't deflect in any way whatsoever from his team selection, or he just said,
Well, he got hammered last year. We hammered him. Didn't rotate his squad. He rotates his squad. The one thing, in hindsight, I'll say he got it wrong yesterday. He put the young kid Wellesby at fullback, who I believe is a halfback by trade, and he
has played a lot of fullback.
He looked out.
But he's just
he
young.
came up with a couple of errors that cost him. It gifted London a try at 12-0 that got him right back in it, and
he's going to
just
be
it was one of those days. It was
one
of those days. With hindsight, did he make one change too many? Did Wellesby underperform? Probably, yeah, he did. He's better than that.
He's a brilliant. And his career will kick on from that.
Oh, well,
even as one of the top youngsters, you will have had the odd game where you learnt things from it. Didn't go
no, hold on, Phil. He had a 6.5 out of 10 once.
Yeah, so it must have been once.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when I was 34.
Bradford Bramley.
coming to back into my career. But I tell you what, you mentioned somebody young, and if he made a bit of a pig's backside of it.
I mean, he made a couple of them, and he got hauled off yesterday.
Yeah, but then you look at the 17-year-old at Warrington, he was outstanding, absolutely, because
Wellesby was outstanding
when he got walloped in the first game, and Mark was said it on the radio, oh boy, because me, he didn't miss, and I tell you, the kid would have been absolutely rattled, but he didn't rattle him there. And he's only 17, on the second youngest of Warrington.
No, but I say,
it was outstanding.
As a kid, you need to have a game where you learn something.
Yeah, but not your first one. Not your first one. You don't. You dare. You don't.
No.
Well, you was there, you see, man. I give Furious on Saturday. His debut from there, a 7 out of 10. What would you give Wellesby yesterday?
Yeah, he made a couple of crucial errors. Yeah, big ones. He'd probably have to get a 5. To be honest,
So for your debut, you want to be looking at more.
That wasn't Wellesby's day.
Well, but what I'm saying is to put a marker down and make that impression that if it happens again, where he needs to be called up, then he wants to fill in straight away. Feel confident about it. And his teammates around him.
Well, Sid has been on, who is our resident Hull KR fan, and I think Sid was in meltdown yesterday. He was moaning about Saints playing a weakened team, and now he's just been on. He said less than the hype. They've beaten Wakefield twice. They've also beaten Wigan, Sid. They've beaten St Helens, and they've beaten Leeds.
I don't want to give Sid bad news. 29 rounds in Super League, isn't there?
There are.
Last round, all KR at Salford. Well, that could be anything. London at Wakefield. Well, London are going to win that. Wakefield can't beat them. So you're buggered.
But
You
no,
learn how to-
seriously.
learn how to stop drop goals.
Seriously, right?
Yeah.
I think Sid's getting riled because I think he sees history's repeating itself.
Yeah.
OKR spend all that money, and what have they got for it? They've got the same wins. And I'm going to say it, right? OKR may well beat London twice. They've already beaten them this season. If London beat them twice, OKR are going to be red hot favourites to get relegated. Now, as fans of the game, who do we want to get relegated? This is a big question now. Who do we want? You know,
But you see,
OKR are a
I
well-resourced
think
team.
what we're missing is the fact that what happened this week has concertinaed the table.
Well, it has, because had they lost,
Oh,
had they
so,
lost and
you know,
OKR win, it'd have been 4 points.
I think you've got to throw Salford, Wigan and Huddersfield into this calculation as well.
But I've been told positively that Super League's crap this year and Championship's where it's at, even though the team at the bottom of the Championship has won one game, the team above them have won 2 games, and the teams at the bottom of the Super League have won 5. All that happens.
What's happening? There's loads of people getting in touch.
No doubt we'll talk
Not
about
just
that.
worried
No,
Sid.
Because the other thing is that Sid should be at least confident with the fact that I think they've pulled off a coaching masterstroke this week. And you wouldn't expect to see the evidence of that within one training session of Tony Smith being there, but he loves a project and he will get his teeth into it. He will get the best out of what he's got available.
Yeah, but Phil, I'll tell you.
Has he got enough available is another question.
Hey, listen, mate, a coach is always as good as his players, or a farmer's always as good as his cattle. I'll tell you, he's too many journeymen there as Tony Smith. You know, I'm delighted he's Tony back. I'm absolutely delighted that he's back. You know, the way that he likes to play the game, and he's sort of delighted that he's back, and hopefully, you know, it'll happen for himself. But boy, oh boy, it ain't going to be easy.
I think to be fair to Hudgell, and I've given him a bit of stick last couple of weeks over his comments about Paul Cullen, you have to say he's got that right, hasn't
That
he?
is a massive
If he's going to get rid of a coach, he needed someone to come in that made everyone go, whoa, that's a good sign.
Did anybody do that?
No, and that's fair play.
So he's been very smart, hasn't he, Hudgell?
Yeah, so
very smart.
Sid, who says we've got an anti-OKR agenda. He says when you discuss Robert,
Sid,
mention the abysmal ref
Yeah.
being coached on the pitch by Ben Thaler, or doesn't that suit your anti-Rovers narrative?
Sid,
OKR won 5 games, mate. That's not my fault. That's not Richard's fault.
Yeah.
Might be Scully's fault.
Well, listen, I'll tell you, Sid, at this moment in time, you're inconsistent and you're rubbish. There you go. Stop blaming anybody else.
It's all right because they're going to sign Callum Watkins.
Wasn't it 4 tries to 3 for Wigan as well? So even though it was a 1-point game, I don't think there's any doubt.
People on the internet are upset anyway because Phil was upset them because he said London should be in the Super League and sod all these northern teams.
I didn't say
I know
all
you
these
didn't say
northern
that, but that's what they think.
He added that in on the edit.
We could increase the number of teams in Super League. What I'm saying is, strategically, there is a reason why London is very important to Super League.
It's interesting because we can actually do something as a sport that Rugby Union should have done and hasn't done. If Rugby Union had increased
Steel Shulman.
Steel Shulman.
Has he gone straight away?
Yeah, Harlequins, yeah.
We'll talk about it in a bit.
Nice the shirt. If Rugby Union had increased the number of teams in their Premiership, and perhaps strategically thought, well, the country's this big, then there's this big bit in the middle where there's no team, but there is a team in the Championship, we could put them in, and they didn't do that, and now that team might disappear. We could do that in London, but we don't want to do that, because promotion relegation is great, but I don't understand. Super League is the devil, right? Robert Elston is the spawn of Satan. And Super League is this evil competition bankrolled by an evil Australian media tycoon. And yet, all the teams in the Championship who moan about it want to be in it. They desperately want to be in it. And yet they moan about it. It's very odd, isn't it? How does that work?
And yet the two clubs best positioned at the moment to be in it aren't from those. Here's
the thing. When you use examples of one statistic, there's a great women's football is great now because 6.1 million people watched England versus Scotland yesterday, which is a great figure, and proves why it should be on BBC One. Back in after the war, Dick Kerr ladies got 60,000 at a game. One game got 60,000 people, and now everyone parrots this number as if it was every game ever was 60,000 people watching it. 86,000 people watched Liam Widnes at the Summer Bash. One game. Toronto versus Sheffield the other week, 19,000. No one's telling me that this week.
I was commentating on that game.
That's why
people
wanted to stay home and listen to that. That's why.
Never.
All the games in the Magic weekend did very well. In fact, the Challenge Cup games did very well compared to the England Barbarians game, which gets a lot more hype than Hull.
But again, doesn't that show you that if you make something into an event, you can pull in audiences that don't normally watch the sport? So Blackpool felt like an event. There was a roll of games on one after the other, and if you were a casual fan and you stuck on an afternoon of rugby league, that
was the thing on the Sunday at the Magic weekend. The crowds, the audience figures built throughout the day. So Salford Oak did well, London Leeds did a bit better, and Cass Saints, which was not much of a contest, got the best figures of the weekend.
I think there's a very good case for saying Super League next year should be 14 teams.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
That is partly to do with the fact that I think strategically we're at a very interesting place at the moment where the bottom team can beat the top, and I think there is some exoticism in the Championship that you could add to that, but keep what you've already got.
All right, so 14 then. How do you determine the other two teams?
Well, you two from the Championship.
Yeah, obviously. I didn't think you were going to get them out of the conference.
The team that finishes top, finishes top goes straight up. Doesn't have to get involved in any playoff.
So what you're doing is like RFL. It's changing the rules during the season.
I think we should. We could have seen that. We've been talking about this and what the sport looks like for a broadcaster in 2021 for 2 or 3 years. This isn't new. This was one of the reasons why.
So Toronto, as it stands, go up,
as it
and
stands
the
at
next
the
5
moment,
playoffs.
Toronto would go up, and they wouldn't have to go through the lottery of perhaps having 6 of their best players injured when it got to a grand final. Last year.
I don't have any problem with that, but you could end up with 4 overseas team in Super League, which might not appease everyone.
But I think you have to deal with that. I think there's 2 things with that. One is we want more broadcasting money because that's what keeps going, not away fan support, it's broadcasting money. Well, if you've got 2 French teams, if you've got a Canadian team, if you've got a team in London, you might have more appeal to more broadcasters. You might not sell any more Sky dishes in Toronto, but you might have an American broadcaster that says, well, if you're in the Super Duper League, we'll have some of that. And if you've got 2 French teams in there and you've got BN saying, we realise we haven't paid very much for Super, it's been more of a contra deal that we give you the Catalan games and we take back other Super League games. But if you're going to have the ability to give us a Super League game every week in France, we'll give you €3 million. Well, strategically, we've got to be looking at that.
You've been rumbled by the listeners because they're not stupid, Phil. It's because Leeds are at the bottom, isn't it? It's because they might go down. Leeds might be relegated.
Hey, listen, we're on the roll. We're on the roll. We're on the roll for the top 5. We're not going down.
They were paraded in Leeds yesterday because they'd won again.
I think that was a triathlon.
I got 30 odd likes for that tweet. That was a good one.
Richard wasn't happy with the triathlon yesterday. No. You should have got the Rugby part down the road and thrown a few bricks in the water.
Whatever I think, you've both said, as non-Leeds aficionados, that Super League would be worse off without Leeds.
I'll go. I do not in any way, shape or form want Leeds to get relegated.
Right, there is a danger
now. I do not want them.
I'm not talking about who's at the bottom of the league.
I hope it goes to the last game and you're all sweating.
Warrington.
And then they get a dodgy decision at the end.
Our last game?
Yeah.
So our last game's Warrington. London plays bloody hell, I didn't know that.
It could all be decided in the next 6 weeks. I think it could. I genuinely do.
Well, Leeds have got OKR coming up as well. So everybody's got everyone to
12th of July. Yeah.
But you wouldn't want Wigan.
What they've done.
You don't want Leeds to go down. You wouldn't want Wigan to go
what
down.
They've done. Well, I'll be the judge of that.
Maybe he's only down the road.
Yeah, although it's quicker for me to get to Wigan than it is to get to Headingley in the traffic. What London have done, and this is credit to them, no one expected them to win many games, if any. They've kept the season now, whatever happens, it's going to go pretty much to the final 6-7 weeks.
Yeah.
And every week we'll get to our predictions and we will get them wrong, and that's how it should be.
Yes.
I think that's the thing that annoyed me most about the people saying we've written off London. Well, some of the biggest supporters from London.
No, I mean, I'm not being biased in my thing.
I think I've tipped it 3 times to you said on Saturday. You said on
national radio.
Don't rule it out.
I thought that London could sneak a result.
Well, when you were saying that on Saturday, Mark, I thought you said, we've not had a drink here. Well, I've had 3 bottles, you've had 2 teas, and I thought to me saying, my workmate here is not bonkers, surely. And it's going on and going on, and the more he went on, I thought, do you know what? It might happen here, but then, do you know what convinced me a little bit that it could happen? When I saw the changes for St Helens, then I thought to myself, aye, because London down there, they said the response what Danny Ward gets from his players, as Phil mentioned it, he goes on all the time about it, they've had a week off and the rest, and I don't buy into all that rubbish, to be honest with you, but still, resting them players, a bit of a lift, a couple of St Helens players, Reece Morgan, he was outstanding, wasn't he? He get the man of the match,
Ryan
he kicked the
Morgan,
goal, Ryan Morgan, and scored a try. and
Not
whatever.
that he had a point to prove.
You know, so yeah, they're brilliant from London. Sensational.
Well, Alan's
What?
spotted the conspiracy here, and it is a Robert Elson-backed Leeds cabal that have got 6 home games out of their last 8.
Yeah, but Alan, they played the best 4 teams away from home in
Yeah.
the first 5 weeks of the season. So
But, was
you know,
that anything to do with their first 4 games being away?
we got the chance to put the boot in early. We can't moan that they then get the boot back.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what.
No.
I guess from a point of view, you could blame Robert Elson. That's why David Ferner's got the sack.
Yeah.
You know, first 4 games away from home against the top 4 sides.
Callum Watkins is leaving. It's Robert Elston's fault.
Yeah.
He's not off to OKR, is he? That's just surely. Hang on, Leeds players leaving. Ding, OKR.
I think that
I could-
might be
a lot
to
of
do
people
with
saying he's going to Toronto.
the head of recruitment for Hull KR might have something to do with that.
Like his mates and everything. Like your mates. That
No,
always
I
works well,
think
that
at the
does.
moment he's very, very wisely keeping his options open because there are definitely different options available to him, which could include a team getting promoted.
Yeah.
It could include another sport wanting to come in again.
Yeah. Can we just make something blatantly obvious, blatantly clear, right? Callum Watkins is not going to agree to leave Leeds without either cast iron offers on the table that are better than probably what he's already got,
Yes.
or that Leeds, I'm sure, would have to underwrite his contract. If he couldn't get a club, they're going to have to pay him
said
out.
that, didn't you? He would sit there on the
He
contract.
could just
'cause
say,
he
"Oh,
doesn't-
all right, lads, it's all right, I'll stay. Don't
Yeah.
worry. You don't
He-
like
he-
me?
he-
Not bothered."
Doesn't have to accept a
No, he
revision
doesn't
in
have
his
to
contract.
go. So I
What's
think Callum Watkins.
What's Gareth Bale doing at the moment?
Yeah, exactly. But Callum Watkins is a bloody good player. However form he's in at the minute, it might do him good to leave Leeds. He might
Well,
become a better player just by
Let's
leaving
not
Leeds.
talk about Leeds this week, obviously.
No,
No,
that's
listen.
2 in a row.
But Callum,
Hold on, we'll be the judge.
Callum Watkins, 53 tackles, played like a man with a huge weight lifted off his shoulder. He was brilliant on Friday night.
He's a
Phil,
centre.
He was playing
yeah, Phil, but 53 tackles for Callum Watkins is no good for him.
It's a way of
I
building.
want to see him
back
scoring
up your
53 tries.
Well, maybe he will once he's got the confidence back and
Got
making
53
53
tries.
tries.
Well, I'll tell you what, if he's got 53 tries, he won't be leaving Leeds, will he?
He was held up by
Maybe
Jack
not
Ross for
next
this great centre. So,
Yeah.
great
Well
centre.
played to Watkins, and I hope he does get the deal he wants. And I'm pretty
think
sure
he will.
we'll see him back to his best soon. I mean, the change is as good as the rest. That's what they're saying. So he's
And
coming.
knowing what your future holds is a
Yeah.
huge relief as well.
Yeah,
And
I like it.
that
I
showed
like
in the
it.
way he played.
Yeah.
He's always been honourable in everything he's said and done as well.
He's a nice guy.
He
We
is.
all wish him well.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, what's
Someone
that?
tweeted us earlier about Callum Watkins and his potential move to Toronto. No, I can't find it. Oh, here it is. The Egg. He's got lots of numbers after his name, which makes me think he's a Russian bot. But he says
He knows a lot about rugby league.
Yeah.
If he is, I've got to give him credit for
He
that.
sends something in next about Brexit, we'll know. Rumours Callum Watkins has signed for Toronto. Imagine if Elston refuses them Super League access. But this is just a conspiracy theory again. You are a Russian bot, the Egg.
We'll
Calm
talk.
down.
We'll talk about Toronto for obvious reasons later on in the show. I want to talk about what went on the field. Great win for London. I think we've given them credit for that. St Helens will dust themselves down. They're still 4 points clear at the top. It's only their second defeat of the season. They've lost twice by 1 point in both games.
If you're going to be defeated at this time of the year. Don't do it. Don't do it when you get to Bolton like they did last year.
Yeah, exactly. I just think the one thing, and I've said all along that I don't think St Helens will win. They've got some great players. I know they had some great players not playing yesterday, but I think there's a trait I've seen in them. They can get a little bit loose at times and a little bit.
They overplay.
I want to use the word arrogant at times.
I think they just
And I
move the
think
ball
it-
for the sake of moving the ball.
Yeah, and I just think no.
they
You
do
know
that.
what? I want to see you just. It's great. So they're a great team. I like. I think Allbuck's great. He's great for the game. I want to see. I do not want to see him leave Super League. They've got some brilliant players. They're great to watch, but I just wonder when someone has their foot on the throat, where do they go then? I just
Are
got
they
this
gonna
nagging
be-
feeling, and it is. It's the skeptic in me that says the best team never wins Super League. and
Roby's
that's what
out
I'm worried
for a
about.
month now.
Yeah, but again, I get
Do
the
you think they can
feeling.
cover
I get
for
the
that?
feeling that's been written in the calendar. We'll leave you out for them, but we want you back for X, Y, and Z. And I actually think that is been struggling for a while. Look, if Rob, if
But
he
there
plays
was,
one leg and
there,
still,
was, there was a time that without Roby for a month, you would have worried whether they would win a game. But now,
nah, they've got too
They can
much
cover
quality. They've got too much quality.
No,
You know,
it's
and
like-
that's the moan yesterday. You know, all right, Wellesby didn't have a great game. there were no one where you go, oh, he should be playing. You think, bloody hell, he's good. You know.
Didn't Kevin Iguana drop a ball with the line out? And again, he's at the top of
But
his
that was at the start of the second half,
and it happens.
These things happen. So, and he was wide open as well.
But also as well, the fact of the matter is when the pressure really is on.
They won't
want that to happen.
That's the nagging doubt I have. And yesterday they were under pressure, right? Yeah. And all right, they scored the try right at the end. Yeah. It didn't seem to have the answers yesterday. Well, that's a mind thing.
You get it sometimes with St Helens, and they did it in the Challenge Cup, didn't they, a couple of weeks ago, where the feeling as though they can turn the tap on and then turn it off, and then with the quality what they've got, we'll turn it on for 10 minutes and then we'll be all right. Yesterday they got found out. Yesterday they got found out. They did. They did, but also as well, the fact of the matter is, Matt, looking at St Helens from there now, Huddersfield, they won that game not once, not twice, but 3 times. St Helens have just been, we would say a little bit embarrassed by London, taking nothing away from London, outstanding victory from there. Huddersfield got to say it's after being beat at London. I don't think that's the place I want to go, do you?
No, I don't. And I think, you know what, I think Justin Holbrook will be using that now as a bit of a stick to beat us. Not in a bad way. They'll say, look, when he's off, this is what happens and we're not doing it. We go again here.
I think the other thing that's interesting is that with Warrington winning and Saints playing Warrington in, was it 2 weeks?
Coming at 28th.
Suddenly the top of the table's up for grabs now, and we thought maybe that was a foregone conclusion.
You never know.
Which is great. As a sport, isn't that what we want?
Yeah.
Our fixture correspondent, Neve, I think that's how you pronounce it, I always get these things wrong, on YouTube, says that London play Saints at London the week before the Challenge Cup semi-finals.
Sid just gone,
no! Hey Sid, you're going down London staying up. I'll tell you what, it's London for the 5. I'll tell you what, you look at the inconsistent teams, i.e. Cass, Wakefield, Salford, Wigan, Huddersfield and Leeds, and certainly the inconsistent, I'll tell you what, London could make the 5.
Now it's
get that now, you need to sober up, you better drink that.
They could make the 5, London.
You better drink that.
They're only 4 wins off the 5.
David's been on, he usually listens to the podcast, but he's listening
good evening, David.
Says, is it fair to say Rugby League will never be considered seriously as a sport when they do balmy things like allowing the home and away teams to play in the same colours, a la Wakefield and Leeds? Who the hell allows this? It's common sense a team in a team sport that plays in a different colour. Rugby League is devoid of common sense at times. It does. What's that women's game where Bradford and Saints played in white kits earlier in the season? That was good. Yeah, Wakefield in blue versus Leeds in slightly darker blue.
Yeah, I agree.
It's all supposed to be signed off by the RFL.
It is, yeah.
Leeds is wicked.
Who sanctioned it?
Yeah, but do they still do that now?
On the Leeds' home.
I remember that day when Castle were playing.
At the Halifax. Yeah, they played Huddersfield.
And they're warming up, and I think I might have been, I don't know where that day I went, have you noticed they've both got the same colour kits on? He went, oh yeah. And they just kept warming up, and then came out to King and went, hang on, this isn't right. This isn't right.
That was the day of Hilda, wasn't it?
The kit lady, got the kit out,
got the Halifax kit out.
That was an absolute joke. But it does happen, and it needs sorting out, you're right, it does need as a spectacle, because quite a lot of people, their only interaction with Super League is watching it on the telly. And when you watch it, you go, I can't tell who's who, it just looks rubbish. There you go. We will talk about Leeds in a bit. I want to talk about Hull KR. They lost to Wigan yesterday. Wigan winning by 1 point. Big win that for Wigan, because again, had they not won, they would have been 2 points off the bottom of Super League. What do we think? I don't know what happened in the game. Controversy, I think Hull KR had a try. I understand disallowed late on that, to all intents and purposes, looked to try. But you mentioned it, 4 tries to 3 again in favour of Wigan. They probably did enough to win the game.
My reports, I say my mates over at Hull KR, the people who watch them, and very unlucky to be honest with you, they were the better side, but hey, listen, you don't play for the full 80 minutes, and if a side isn't playing that well and you get beat by them, Wigan yesterday, wins a win, that's what Wigan would call it from there, and now the pressure really is on Kingston Rovers. There's no two ways about it. You can't put any spin on this at this moment in time. The way that the league position doesn't tell lies, and it doesn't matter how many points they score, whether it's 18 points or 26 points or 30 odd points. They just can't hold on to a game, can they? They don't know how to see out a game and win a rugby league game. And also as well, which you find it a little bit hard to believe at times, because they have got enough experience out there when you look at it, you know, that to close the game down. You know,
I think
Maguire didn't play yesterday.
No, I
Josh,
think it was unfortunate for them that Maguire pulled out in the.
Yeah, but still they've got enough quality there to close. Like look at Drinkwater, you know, he should be, you know, enough to know to manage the game. Certainly for it's like Wolford says about his team. You know, for the last 5 minutes we just don't seem to know how we can close the game out.
I think any coach wants a general on the field that knows exactly how the coach wants to play. And Danny Maguire clearly would have been that for Tony Smith because of the relationship they've had and mutual admiration that they've got for each other. And that's one of the reasons why Tony Smith was keen to take up the role. He's a project-led guy, and the project is for the next 4 months he's got to stop Hull KR getting relegated. That's all he's worried about. I think having Maguire out there dictating on his behalf would have helped. But I think games turn on moments of brilliance, and the 2 moments of brilliance both came from Wigan and both came from the same player. Sam Powell with a 40-20 and then with a 45-50 metre drop goal.
Yeah.
Not the whole KR have ever been beaten by a 50-metre drop goal before.
Never happened, never seen.
And on such things, you cannot do anything other than heap praise on Wigan for finding a way to win.
You know, this is the problem with Hunkers Rovers. They can't find a way.
They
can find a way to lose. They're finding ways of losing quite
That's why
easily.
London
They can't
was such
find
a
a way to
big
win.
game. They lost
Exactly.
the Leeds by 2.
Absolutely.
They lost
Yeah.
to the Giants, didn't they? Late there, and you get it was a game they had to win.
London and Wigan tend not to be beaten by huge scores.
No, well,
Because there's a collective spirit about them and a willingness to defend, whereas clubs like certainly Leeds this year, Hull KR,
Hull KR have got the worst defence in Super League.
it's the defence that's let them down.
They've got the worst defence in Super League. That is why they are where they are.
Yeah.
Disappointment, I guess, for them. Had they won that game, it could have been so different, couldn't it? Yesterday, they could have been 4 points from safety, but they're not. You know what I find interesting? The reason we got rid of the 8s was because of the uncertainty of recruitment for next year. The 8s came in after 23 games? 6 games in effect left in that part of the season. And there are still 6 teams realistically could get relegated. That is the reality of it. So it's a load of rubbish, isn't it? This all the uncertainty, because you mentioned okay, how are they going at the moment? How are they looking at recruiting?
Well, and that's why they can link Callum Watkins with him for as much as they want, but until they know what division they're going to be in, somebody like Callum is not going to commit to them.
No, he's not, and especially if you're a higher earner, because if you commit to them and then they go down, your contract's null and void.
Yes.
No one else has got any money left, and you can't get the same deal elsewhere.
Exactly.
So
The only stories that seem to be close to happening with Hull KR players from the Championship. And those Championship teams at the top are doing the same position. They can't prepare because they've got a player series team.
Hasn't he signed for them? Milliken from Castles, has he signed for him?
reportedly, yeah.
But nobody's announcing anything because it would be null and void if they were to get relegated.
Chris says the loop fixtures will determine who goes down, so we can blame it on the loop fixtures now.
Is that Elston?
Yeah, but I think the loop fixtures are. If you play second form, that's how it works out, isn't it? I don't know. But you look at that Leeds London game. That could be the game that keeps Leeds in the division. Leeds might win the next 6 games and finish in the top 5. We don't know.
I don't think they will.
Here's Brian. Oh, sorry.
Go on. No,
I was going to ask Rich.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't talked about Wakefield yet.
Not yet.
we will do.
No, but should they be included in a team that could be worried about how
Well,
this season could
tell me
turn out? Because
when-
we've gone to 14 points and said, Salford might be dragged into this. Could Wakefield be dragged into
If they win on
16?
If they win on Sunday, they might not do. If they don't, then maybe.
Because they've lost 4 in a row.
Yeah, but it's all right because I've read the Wakefield Facebook group, and it's all right because Pauly's back, and he's been pulling up trees at Salford apparently, and he's the reason why we've been rubbish the last month. 'Cause he's not been there. You won't believe it, would you, Scully? Because you watch Rugby League, and you're a better judge of these things than I am. What would you think the Wakefield fans were thinking of Pauly when he went on loan to Salford? Oh, get rid of them.
Well, I know exactly what they're thinking. Absolute garbage.
And now he's
Absolute
gone away.
garbage.
Now he's been away. Every player who doesn't play, we said this about Richie Myler earlier in
Yeah.
the season. He didn't play when Leeds lost to somebody. Could have been anyone. And
Do you know what? Just say for instance on Sunday when they play Salford, Pauly comes off the bench, drops the first ball, knocks on. He knocks on because he wants Salford to win, and he was being a Salford player for the last 4 weeks. Absolute fruitcakes. No,
Well,
fruitcakes.
Some,
Yeah.
well, I better not say that. Jacob Miller's now getting blamed for everything because he's the captain, and the captaincy's weighing heavy on him. She didn't weigh heavy on him in the first 10 games of the season when Wakefield were good.
I must admit though, the reports I heard about Wakefield's performance on Friday night, well, they were absolutely clueless.
Well,
they were just far too
was
predictable for the. I know Richie Agar and praising the defence and Phil were praising the defence and all this sort of thing. But what I heard about Wakefield, they were absolutely clueless and too predictable in attack.
Let me take nothing away from Leeds. There you go. Put that down now. Wakefield.
Can you repeat that, Rich?
Yeah. Take nothing away from Leeds. They won 10-0. Well done. Have you opened top bus tour? I didn't apply for accreditation on Friday. I won't be allowed to be back.
I won't bother. Oh, if you do, don't mention my name.
I'll go under the shoe name. I'll be all right. I'll make me on new pass.
It comes to something when Scoy is the most popular man at Leeds out of us four.
I've seen what people are trying to do, and they still get accreditation for things. I'm
not sure about that. I'm not sure about that sometimes.
Wakefield 20, it was their great tribute to the late Ray Wilkins on Friday because they just played the ball across, run across, made no meters forward. I think there was one point in the first half when they stood behind the sticks, so they couldn't be bothered going to sit with the rest of the press. And Reece Lynn said, "Go forward." In the when they get behind the posts and they have their little tete-a-tete. But they didn't go forward, they went sideways again. And it wasn't good. It wasn't good from Wakefield, and they've got to improve. It's a big game this week against Salford, who've got Junior South back now, who may or may not have scored tries. But again, do you blame Junior South for dropping those balls, or do you blame the people who passed them to him because they were rubbish?
Also as well, Rich, Wakefield, looks like he's clueless in attack. I mean, haven't you got any pace anymore? How come Low He was allowed to go 80 yards?
Well,
he's not the quickest.
To be honest, as soon as Kalepi Tangadoa passed the ball and it went into his arms, just went to Luke's. I can't bother watching this.
Yeah, but still, 80 yards Low he's not the quickest.
It was raining.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like water splash all over again.
Does that make him faster, does it?
Even though none of those players were born in 1968, but they all had flashbacks like Nam, and it all went right.
Anyway, well done the boys.
It was a super.
Well done the boys. Well done the boys, Phil. Well done the boys, Phil. We're on a roll.
Lola here deserves all the credit for that try. I don't think there was anybody in the ground when he intercepted that ball, and that was the first thing because we would have gone behind if it hadn't.
Did it go straight into his hand then? Was it an interception?
He just judged when the guy was going to pass.
Right, all right.
Because there was support on the inside.
All right.
He read it.
So it's like a 2-on-1, so he got in between interception and then went.
And then went.
I think they panic sometimes. I think Wakefield panic a little bit. We talked about Leeds panicking earlier in the season when they're in the lead. And we saw that against London. I think Wakefield's panicked a little bit, played too much when they didn't need to.
Can I make an observation, and I've made it before on this show about Wakefield, is when they're favourites and expected to win, they quite often lose. And there's something mentally there.
Can they not handle the pressure then, man?
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Can they handle the pressure? I don't think they can.
Went to London, didn't get the job done, went to London, got beaten again. I remember Salford in the past. The games when you really think, they'll win. They'll just turn up, they'll win, and they don't turn up. And there's got to be something in that, I think. I'd be worried about that as a Wakefield. And again, this weekend's another game where you think they should win. Will they win?
Can't play in the rain either. So hopefully it doesn't rain this weekend.
Hopefully from a Wakefield perspective, Salford give them 30-point start like they seem to do everyone else.
Well, I'm looking forward to the newly reinvigorised Paulie to score a hat-trick against Salford because he's the greatest player in Salford's history apparently. Okay. So I can't wait to see him in Wakefield colours this week. If he gets picked.
So is he definitely back for Wakefield, is he?
Yeah, the swap's over now.
The loan has come to an end.
Gone back. And
so the kick up the backside, what Chris Chester said, has worked at Salford, so has brought him back. Is that right?
Well, he picked up another couple of injuries, and I'm not sure David Fafita will play. But it's almost like if Fafita isn't there, and I think they knew all week he wasn't going to be there because he hadn't trained with the team. It's like, what's our outlet? Because when we've had a problem in the past, we'll give it to Big Dave, and Dave.
They need to win without him. They need to let them win without him, but at the minute they don't.
We've praised the forwards all year, the likes of George King and Craig Kopchak, but they do a certain job, which is not the job that David Fafita does.
Yeah, well, that's a fair point.
3 years today he was officially signed as a Wakefield player.
He's been there 3 years?
Who knew what would have happened in those 3 years?
He's been there that long. Castleford, we brushed over their win against Huddersfield. We mentioned Huddersfield and their inability to close the game out. Castleford nicked it. We were there scoring. It felt like a massive win, didn't it, for Castle? It was a win they needed, and they got one. Look, they'll look at the end of the season, if in the top 5, it's not how you got there, it's if you got there.
Yeah, they couldn't care less.
No.
No way made it. But I think as well, Mike, you could see the relief on everybody at Cash and using the crowd exactly the way I was, and certainly from the fans and the players as well when that drop kick went over, because we thought again they fluffed it and they went for a few drop goals. Max Shane again, it looked like he was Leeds all over again, went for the big champion play and totally messed up. But anyway, eventually after Huddersfield's pathetic attempts at trying to go for field goals, and as Wolford said, attempted to go for drop goals 50 metres out into the wind, just not good enough. The game management was very poor from that department. But Castleford, they hung in there. I think we're still talking about it. How did Huddersfield lose that game? But Castleford, they hung in there. But I say, not pretty though. Not pretty.
But they won.
Yeah, they won. Yeah, but the way they are, I don't think that the forwards are not as dominant. And as I mentioned, we had a bit of debate last week, didn't we, about Ian Truman? And I said to you over the weekend, Matt, Ian Truman for 80 minutes, and the first time he went to the line, it was after 28 minutes. And he went to the line twice in 80 minutes. Need more from the kid from there. And it's all right saying when he's all young, well, I'm sorry, but if that half-back combination's not right, well, I'm sorry, but Ranking's got to go. Because I've seen this kid play, and I say when I saw him play at Wigan 18 months ago, let him be the main organiser. Even though Ranking's an experienced guy, but he's not a quality half-back anyway. This young kid is quality, but because he's now a more experienced player, he's dominating him. I'm sorry, but if that's going to be the case, Truman's going to be like a few of them. He's going to be like Richardson, and he's going to be like Lilly, where he's going to get left behind, and unfortunately it'd be another half-back who we could maybe lose the potential of what he's got. But fair play to Cass, a win's a win.
How important is Liam Watts?
Oh boy, oh boy. Well, if Liam Watts wasn't playing on Friday, then Cass will win. Simple as that. But also as well, you know what Liam Watts is like? He's like a Gareth Ellis and like a Fafita. The impact what they have on that field, and it's like an Alex Walmsley at St Helens, and it's like a Sean O'Loughlin at Wigan. When you bring them off, all of a sudden all the players just seem to drain. They just seem to drain. They just say, "Oh well, where's our leader? Where's our inspiration? We need some purpose from somebody." But then when all them players, when they do come back on, everybody seems to lift. So the players around him have got to grow some crystals and say, "Hold on, yeah, we know he's going for 20, 25 minutes. We've got to hang in there." Or we've got to try and making sure that we don't give so much impetus away while they're off the field before they come in. But Liam Watts, there's no two ways about it. He's head and shoulders above anybody else in that Castleford side at this moment in time.
And Gaskell went well, didn't he? That trick for Huddersfield.
Best player on the field. Best player on the field. And again, this is what I talk about with a halfback from there. He didn't want it on the ball all the time. You Russell, again, he just seems to be waiting as though I've got to wait till the last tackle for the kick. But he took a bit of pressure off. But Gaskell, when he got himself involved, the show and goal, the two tried, the support play from there, but his kicking game was good, great variation, and he'd have been waking up Saturday morning thinking, hold on, I scored a hat-trick, I thought I played pretty well, I'm on the losing side, but listen, a win's a win, you don't have to play that well. Castleford is still in the top five, and Darryl Powell will be delighted.
I think
absolutely.
The thing about Cass is they need to kick on this week because they're in a run of home games. And
it's tough though against Hull, back and forwards.
But it's the team that's just above them. It's the team that they lost to in the Challenge Cup to. If they are going to be serious this year, having sneaked one against Huddersfield that beforehand we all thought they'd win more easily, they have to now back that up.
Dave says Truman's burnt out, can't do it every week.
I can't remember, and I haven't watched Cass as much this year, but I can't remember when he's had a really good, where you've gone away thinking, wow, and I did that quite a lot last year.
I think he did at the beginning of the season.
I like to think I know what I'm talking about when I'm watching the halfbacks. Right? I like to think, with the experience what I've got from there, and certainly I know from my experience before I came at number 6 was watching players. And now, again, as I've mentioned, and I'll keep repeating myself, the young halfbacks who are given opportunity seem to think all they can do is just wait to the last tackle and kick it. Not a chance. No. But young Truman, we all knew what he did to Wigan 18 months ago. And that kid was ready. But now, they're taking responsibility away from him. On that day, he had all the trust of all the senior players. All the senior players were listening to what he was directed. You go A, you go B, you go C, you stand there and what have you. It was brilliant to watch. Unfortunately now, it seems to be taken away from him. And that is what he's not burnt out. He's not being given the role, what he's best doing, and that is being the main man and organising. That's why he's falling backwards.
I know the legend's very popular with our viewers. The sad news is he can't actually be the next Prime Minister because he's never touched any drugs.
Well, not that we know of.
What's that?
It's on CFAX, don't panic. Peter says, players holding up scarves while still contradicting clubs makes me angry. There's actually a thing in the League Weekly today.
I think, again, that's an accident waiting to happen.
Ray French's
Players who signed for a club for next year, but are pictured wearing either the shirt or holding a scarf of the team that they're going to join.
Ray French's column this week must be read with the Hovis music in the background and a flat cap. While enjoying the matches at the Magic Weekend at Anfield, I couldn't help but notice how our change from a winter season to a summer one has changed certain aspects of the game and changed the attitudes of many spectators as well, says Ray. One tradition for many long years always seemed to be associated with rugby league seemed to be missing, probably because the game is played in summer and not winter. Yes, a summer season has removed much of the colour and attire. I refer, of course, to scarves and hats. Cheers, Ray.
Hey, I must applaud as well Ben Failer. He was there, Mark. Cruz Lehman, honestly. Just blatant trying to cheat. And then he's going to the referee, what?
No, you can't accuse Huddersfield of cheating, they'll be honest.
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you.
One of us, Ben Failer, accusing of cheating.
Absolutely. And he's like that. Oh, when they were like that, you're a cheat. You're a cheat. You know exactly now you can't do that, and just literally blatantly threw it into Millington. You're a cheat and fully got what you deserved.
Alright, fair enough.
Do you know what? If I'd have been the coach, I'd have fined him.
Whatever
I'd have fined
happens
him.
to those huge rattles painted in the club's colours, and which many fans would take for a match.
You're not allowed to take him in, Ray. You're going to take it off you.
And deafen any spectators alongside them. Where have they gone?
You've more chance of getting You've got more chance of getting a pyrotechnic in than a rattle.
Ray's been watching rugby league for 100 years. There hasn't been a rattle there for about 50 of them.
Oh well. Saturday,
one for the desk,
we were at Warrington, who beat the Dragons. The Dragons were great for half an hour and then fell off a cliff and got absolutely battered. 34 unanswered points. Blake Austin with some more magic in front of the biggest crowd of the Super League weekend, 10,015.
Well, the Dragons for 30 minutes. We saw it in his own eyes, Mark, didn't we? That sheer quality for 30 minutes. The forwards purposeful. They're going hard and direct, and setting up good field position. Scored a brilliant try. Lovely pass, old-fashioned style, Wally Lewis, and Yaha going in the corner. Great try. And then, Warrington players, they needed to step up, needed a bit of quality. Clarkey back to his best 30 minutes out. Blake Austin not playing like a standoff, just playing like a rugby league player who realistically is in a forward's body at time. But great step. Warrington got the lead 12-4. Second half, blew a Catalan side who played like an under-8s in that second half.
Which is exactly what they did at Hull the week before.
Played like an under-8s. But the big problem for the Catalans, and I think we addressed it after the game, and I'm going to say it now anyway. McNamara has been mentioning, they've been on the road for the last 2 or 3 weeks, which they have. Magic Weekend, Barcelona, and Gatwick to Hull, and all right, I buy into that and what have you. That's not your big problem. That's not the big problem. Langy was out of the centre. He wants to play in the centre as much as what Richard Shawwright and Mark Wilson want to be rugby league supporters. They don't want to be there. They don't want to do it. Quite simple. The big problem for McNamara is, and he's got to realise it, because Steve's a smart fella. Steve's a smart coach, and he's a stupid bit. I'm sorry, but Matty Smith's got to go. So Matty Smith is not good enough anymore. He's far too slow. Any good field position, when it comes to him, literally, he's just everything's too slow and too pedestrian.
I have to agree. Every time the ball went to him, it just stopped. The guys outside him had to stop waiting for what he was going to do.
He's bringing absolutely nothing to the Catalans. I.e., with ball in hand, his kicking game is not varied. His kicking game is just boring. It's all the same from there. So what the Catalans have to do, they have to try and find out what the best partnerships are at halfback. And it's quite simple. The best partnership there will be Tompkins. Who else? Tompkins and Lange. Sorry, Tompkins at 7, Lange at 6, and Guizot at fullback. Sorry, the sound of Matty Smith, exactly like at St Helens, has been a mistake. It's been a mistake. It hasn't worked. And if you're listening, Steve, if you're watching, my advice is to you, mate. Hey, listen, don't play Matty Smith again because he's not bringing anything to you. Because the forwards, what you have got, they will lay the foundation for you. All right, they need to play better for longer minutes, and they need to play for a quality game of rugby league for 65, 70 minutes, not like under-8s. For 50 minutes. But you're a smart fella, you're a smart coach. I'm sure you know exactly what the problem is. But Matty Smith for me is gone.
I agree.
I watch David Mead at the moment, and I think potentially he is one of the most
Mate, you give him the right service.
destructive centres.
You give him
we've
quick
got.
service. He's going to
How
destroy you.
much
pass.
decent ball
He
did
never
he
got
get?
a
No,
pass.
no, it's too
But
slow.
every time I looked at him, his footwork is fantastic.
Yeah.
He seemed to have the measure of the guy that he was playing against. He's quick.
Mm.
He reads the game. I mean, he could play in any of the back positions.
I
But
agree.
if you're going to play him at centre, you've got to find a way of getting the ball to him.
Get to him early.
And I didn't see him get one decent pass on Saturday.
I agree.
But when he did
I agree.
but when he did, it was too slow. It was
Yeah,
too
that's what
slow.
Every
one
time
pass-
it went to him, it was,
Yeah.
It's like
you know.
he had a guy on top
And Matty
of him.
Smith's a nice guy, but so is Richard. I won't want to pay him
Well,
150 grand to play
I'm
at
sure-
Stamford.
I'm sure Matt, he's a nice game, but unfortunately, it comes to it where you just can't do it anymore.
No, I agree.
And that is a big problem for the Catalans. He's not good enough
But
anymore.
forget,
to play.
I mean, he didn't play at all, did he, last year? He
No.
played a handful of games. In the end, he didn't play, did he? But I just can't help but feel if and I know Drinkwater hasn't worked out at Hull KR as they would have wanted him to.
Yeah.
I think you left Drinkwater there, he would have been fine in that team.
I
He
agree.
knew what his
Yeah.
role was and he played to it. And
yeah.
they're a bit of a. I think, and again, it comes
But also
out of
as well,
recruitment.
Mark,
It comes out of recruitment.
Yeah, but Mark Lange was happy playing with Drink because what Drinkwater was, he is a halfback who likes to wait for the last tackle,
Yeah.
who likes to put the kick through, and then Lange can organise and get the quick service. So that's the right balance. So he's happy with that from there. But Matty Smith is bringing nothing. What Matty Smith is doing is trying to be the main organiser. He's trying to be the main kicker, and he's too slow. He's gone.
I would have Matty Smith as a potential backup if you didn't have Michael McAloon.
As
Just
a hooker.
to have him in the squad as a
Yeah,
backup hooker.
yeah.
We get told off for not talking about Warrington enough on this programme.
Yeah,
On
we're just
YouTube.
talking
I know
about
this is
it
what
now.
we're going to do now. We're just going to ask him because he was there. Obviously, they had no recognised senior fullback with Stefan Ratcher injured and Jake Mamo suspended. They bring in this young lad. He does well, but he goes off with cramp, which was quite funny. But Warrington again.
I'm surprised he didn't have cramp in his jaw the amount of times he got cracked on Saturday.
Got smashed 3 times. The kid.
Warrington, they're a good team.
Yeah.
They're an entertaining team to watch.
Very well. But,
Is this their year?
Well, we said it on Saturday, myself and Mark from there, that they're a very well balanced side. The forwards, they go hard and straight and direct. They'll lay the foundation. We know the halfbacks with the creativity. A little bit disappointed at times with Dick Patton because he goes missing too much. I mean, he needs to take a bit of pressure off Austin at time. But when he did take the pressure off, he put a nice little kick through to get the repeat set, and then Blake Austin scored that try just before half time from there. So I'd like to see a bit more from Patton. But overall, the organisation, the creativity, the kicking game is good. They've got a back line that's got pace and finish with quality service. And what I would say about the young kid at fullback, didn't do anything wrong. He got a 7 out of 10 from me. He got smashed 3 times. And also as well, I want to praise Steve Price as well because quite easily he could have put Josh Charlie at fullback. He could have said, well, 17, no, it's a big game, Catalans and this sort of thing. No, he recognised this kid, was ready for his first team debut, had the confidence in him from there. And one thing for sure, he didn't let Warrington down.
Well, he played 2 of them, didn't he? Because he played Johnson. on the
Johnson
wing
as well. Johnson as well was all right. He got plenty of involvement as well, Mark, didn't he, from there? But overall, Fewley's played well. The big problem for Warrington is simple. If Blake Austin gets injured, if he gets injured, then the problem is they ain't got anybody who can replace him. But if a Dick Patton gets injured, yeah, they could maybe something. If a Darryl Clark maybe gets injured, they could maybe cover that up. But if a Blake Austin gets injured, I'm afraid to say, sorry, I apologise. But if Blake Austin, if anything happens to Blake, then quite simply, it won't be Warrington's year. But if he's there,
I think he will be.
But if he is, the side what they've got, the balance what they have, it could well be
They've
Warrington's
just
year.
got to win a really big game.
Yeah. He seemed to go a bit quiet, didn't he, after that little contretemps with Sam Tompkins. I believe that's a French word, I don't know what it means.
Is it? No, right,
But
okay.
then he got
It's
back
very
into
good.
the game, he was good.
I'll tell you who I thought played well at the weekend. Bryson Goodwin. I thought he was outstanding
Solid,
at the
wasn't
weekend.
it? Is he, when his contract's up, he's put himself in the shot window?
No, I think he's gone.
Has he gone, has he?
Yeah, he's just keeping Callum Watkins.
What, he's gone to another club or?
Back to the NRL.
Oh, he's gone back to NRL.
South Sydney.
Played well.
Oh, is he?
Played well at the
Oh,
weekend.
very solid,
You'll be
yeah.
unsurprised to hear Blake Austin got the 3 points from the Man of
Oh,
Steel
we got.
panel.
Go on then. Tell us.
So he's on 24 points now. Clark got 2 and Tompkins 1 in that game. Gasco got 3 for Cass versus Huddersfield.
I was just going to say, Mark, what would your 3-2 would have been on Friday? Let's see if we agree.
Watts certainly would have got some points. Matauti's kicking won him the game ultimately, so him and Gaskell got a hat
trick. I did. I Gaskell 3, Watts 2, and Matauti 1.
Trying to think who else played really well. Probably, go with that. I think that was a fair assessment.
Hull. That's all Hull players. Albert Kelly, Danny Houghton and Wakefield's Joe Westerman.
Wakefield's Joe Westerman. 2-year contract, apparently.
Was he?
Be a good signing for Wake, I think.
Yeah, people seem upset about it. I don't know why. Hull KR.
What? Upset the signing?
Yeah. People are idiots. Craig Hall.
People are idiots, Cole. Still in that as well.
London Broncos versus Helms.
So who was the other one at Hull KR?
Sam Powell got the 1 point. Ryan Morgan, Cunningham and Morgan Smith. And it's all Leeds players.
I don't agree with that. No, I'd like to know who did that. I thought Luke Yates was
you must have been able to work out the legend.
I'll tell you who does out London. There's only one person down in London.
Ellery.
Chariots.
Oh, does he? Luke Yates was outstanding.
Chariots.
Absolutely outstanding. From what David Hughes told, he's already signed he's off somewhere else.
Right.
He's a good bangs it up hard, hits hard in defence.
Yeah, Marty does the London one.
No, they were I was surprised by that. Morgan, alright, he scored 2 nice tries. Cunningham was good, but I think Cunningham went off after about 45 minutes, didn't he? He went off, sure he went off, he didn't come back on.
You were there.
Yeah, Morgan Smith played well, young kid, had to wait his time. You mentioned got to the line, he went to the line a lot. He got cracked a few times, but it's one of them, you watch him, you've heard all about him. When I've watched him, I thought, nah. Yesterday I thought, fair enough, there might be a player there.
I say as well, man, we were talking about going to the line, and because what I've noticed with some of halfbacks, well, they're just standing there, they're standing getting the ball, then there's, I'll go a little bit. You've got to stand deeper, because what that means, you stand deeper, you're coming onto the ball, then what you are doing, you're putting defence in 3 minds. Are you going to do like a Blake Austin Sean go? Are you going to hit the lead runner? Are you going to hit the back runner? So what you're doing straight away, were you running with the ball straight away rather than being stood and think, I'll stop and start? Yeah. You're putting the defence
in. If you're running at a big lad and you've got 10 yards in front of you, you're going to fancy getting around it. If he's 2 yards away, he's going to get you.
But what you're doing straight away, you're putting the defence in 3 minds. I'm going myself, I'm hitting my first man, or I'm hitting the dummy running from behind there. So it makes it so easy, but I'm not seeing that enough. Not seeing that.
In the Wakefield game, it was all Leeds players. Harry Newman, Kalepi Tangana, not Tangana, plays Wakefield, I forgot about him. And Tui Lola. So there you go.
Harry Newman, getting quite a reputation.
We've been asked, how do we know about Luke Yates leaving London? You should have scored the interception.
Who said that?
How do you not score that? Tokolosh.
Well, his name was mentioned in conversation by someone who does know. The problem is, and as the owner admitted to me, he can't guarantee play. They're signing contracts. If Team A goes, have a 3-year deal in Super League, look at us, we're in the top 6. Or London go, we might be in Super League and we might be in the Championship, but we're not really sure. We'll offer you a 2-year deal.
I'll tell you what, the team's a bit slaughtered. Is this Mark Smith?
Tell you what,
is this Mark Smith delivering teams? It's a bit slaughtered, right?
We've made the top 100 in the iTunes charts this week, so that's good.
Have we?
And we've also been in the charts in Italy and New Zealand. So thanks to the one person in Italy who uses Spotify.
We're big into
It's a global sport.
You can listen to us on Spotify. If you've got a Spotify account, you can listen to the Forty20 podcast on there as well.
I don't know what that means.
It's a thing. You've got the Monday morning podcast.
Yeah.
And we had the special By the Balls with Corey Patterson we had on the feed last week as well. So
thank goodness he didn't get banned when he went overseas and couldn't get back in. But we'll talk about that in a bit. Hull Salford. That's one game we haven't mentioned properly. So Hull bust my coupon at the weekend, winning by 19. Salford produce a miraculous comeback, but lose by 3. All I kept seeing on social media, story of our season, said Salford fans. Get too far behind, come back, can't win. Salford are in the mix now, aren't they? And someone made a great point. I think it might have been Daniel or one of the regular Salford fans that contributes on our show. Look at our form in the last 3 years in the second half of the season. It's been dire.
As injuries strike.
And they're 4 points away. Look, they could as easily get in the playoffs as they could be dragged into the bottom. But there will be a side that London and Hull KR and Leeds will be thinking, if we get one more win, they're right in it.
Well, that's why I think Wakefield Salford is one of the most intriguing games on this weekend, because whoever loses that game is in the relegation mix, whether they like it or not. Because if it's Wakefield that lose, that's 5 on the trot, and suddenly, they've got. Chris Chester's right. They've got a lot the salary cap on the sidelines is still to come back in. I get all that, but you still have to start winning games after a while. And if you lose 5 and you get on that roll where it's as easy to lose a game as it is to win a game, then you suddenly start stopping doing the things that have got you to where you are. And I think that's partly what happened to Wakefield this week. You know, clearly Danny Brough is not yet match fit. He's only coming back, but once something starts not working with one player because he's being closed down or the conditions don't allow him to do it as well as he would normally do it, where then do they go? And if Salford or Wakefield, one of those teams lose this week,
Well,
their next part of the season is defined by they need to scrabble away from the bottom of the table.
look at the game. You make a great point. Cass play Hull. Hull win, they go 4 points
Yeah.
clear. Cass win, they go level.
Yeah.
Leeds play Wigan. If Leeds win, they go level with Wigan. If Wigan win, they go 4 points clear. And it's the same with Wakefield and Salford. Wakey could go 4 points clear away Salford, or they could be level. This week, the league could just go like
Absolutely.
that, couldn't it?
Yeah.
It really could.
Yeah.
And I think it's an interesting week. I'm with you. I mean, I think I'm at that game on Sunday, Salford Wakefield. I'm looking forward to it.
Could be a great game.
But you're right, and they're clearly scoring points, but you can't keep conceding 35. I think you said on Saturday, Gary, you can't score 32 and not win away.
Oh, exactly. Correct. You know, if you're scoring, to be honest with you, anywhere around the 26, 28 point mark, you should be winning games.
Yeah.
Quite simple. You should be winning games of rugby league if you are scoring that many points. So
And
again,
I know that they were playing in the latter stages against 12 men, and that may have meant that they had an ability to exploit the extra gaps.
It was
that
11,
were
wasn't
towards
it?
the
It
end.
was 12 against 11, I think. At the
Yeah.
end, wasn't it? Yeah.
But Griffin got sent off. He's been banned for a game, so he's not playing this week. And that may have been the space at the end that meant Salford started moving the ball. But you can't keep. We saw against St Helens where they produced arguably the best 60 minutes of the season, when they came from looking like they were actually out of it at 16 down,
did they ever?
to score 30 unanswered points, and they couldn't win. At some point, and again, this is a squad that's being picked apart at the moment. Yeah, irrespective of what is said officially and who Salford may be being linked with bringing in players, they're going to be losing more than they bring in. The top players that they've got are going to be moving on. I don't think there's any doubt that it looks like neither of their two halfbacks will be there next year.
Well, they've signed Jamie Ellis, haven't they?
Well,
Jamie Ellis is
it
going.
looks like he's going there on loan at the moment.
Because I all felt of something, his attitude or something. Yeah. But also as well, when you mentioned...
But the trouble is, when you start to get tired as a squad, when you start to get injuries as a squad, when your squad breaks up for next year, where do you go? What does Ian Watson do to motivate his team?
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, Phil, what we're talking about the here and now, and what Ian Watson has said today after that game against Solon Friday was quite simple. The attitude for the first 40 minutes was shocking. You know, and Lee Radford has said that about his players. He still doesn't know how they're going to turn up. You know, so it's all.
The legend intensely Radford apparently thinking they'd won by about 20 points.
Yeah.
I didn't realise all of
You didn't hear the comeback?
No. I texted, congratulations, great win, mate. When you were scoring, he said we were bloody lucky. When you were, you were having him, weren't you? So we went winning by 3 points. So in the end, I just put a win's a win, and he agreed. But it's like Lee says, and even Mark Sneed said it on telly the other week, didn't he? And it's all about his attitude. Sometimes we turn up and sometimes we don't, and this is what Watson's getting with his players. You know, you mentioned that performance against St Helens 3 weeks ago. St Helens for the first 12 minutes just literally looked like Warrington did with Catalans in the second half at the weekend. It made them like an under-8s, and then all of a sudden the flicker switch, or they turn the tap on,
or they play with freedom because they think they may as well, and things come off, and the good players then suddenly start pushing their chests out. You can't do that.
No, but exactly, Phil, because this is the point I'm making, and this is the point what Watson says about his players. It's the attitude. You know, so why isn't the attitude right from the first kick-off? And let's just say, all right, we'll get in front and hopefully close the game out after 70 minutes, and then the attitude will change a little bit. But from the start, the attitude's not right.
I think the other thing as well with...
But that's not a coach's problem, by the way.
No,
that's players as individuals and as a team collectively.
I also think that because they don't have access to a pool of young talent, so, you know, whatever we say about the way Wellesby played, he clearly is a talent. I saw him play for the England schoolboys against Australia. In one game, he virtually beat them single-handed. He is a great prospect. You talk about Thewlis, 17-year-old kid that, you know, makes his debut, and you do nothing but have admiration for him. Where are the young kids at Salford?
Well, they've got it.
And again, it's not the coach's fault that he can't bring a kid in to get... You know, sometimes just have it... I use Harry Newman as an example, who was absolutely brilliant this week. That he has got progressively better each week. but his enthusiasm is rubbing off on even more senior players around him. What Ian Watson has got is the luxury of bringing in a young 17-year-old kid that we haven't even heard of yet, who in training and given an opportunity to make his debut, is the sort of guy that has an infectiousness that rubs off on the rest of the team. That's the worry for the remainder of the year for Salford. Where are they going to find a re-spark? Because it's a long, tough, difficult season for everybody, and you have to have a squad, and they haven't got it.
No, I agree.
And I would say that at the moment, if they lose, if they win at Wakefield, I think, look at the top 5 and see how far you can get. If they lose, they're dragged into it.
Definitely. What's happening in social media, Rich?
Good job, I can't go
You
on.
keep chuckle. And,
KPW81. On Thursday, we're going to announce the signing of 2 players, and that 3 current players will stay beyond the end of 2019. Do we know for sure if the contracts have been signed yet, or is it just verbal? How about the Sean?
I saw my old Uncle Sean Edwards, Morris Bamford's funeral. Yeah, it's a great funeral. I just want to say it's a great tribute to everybody for the great man. Yeah, as was said, and I'll say myself regarding Morris as a coach of mine, and the players will tell you. And the great discussion was on Friday. You either love playing for Morris or you hate playing for Morris. And there was no in betweens for the great man, but. The passion and what he brought to the game and the commitment and the enthusiasm was sensational. It was a great.
I like David Ward's story, the eulogy, when he was saying that Morris almost single-handedly invented the coaching manual. Yeah. Because it didn't, there'd been coaching courses with people like Albert Fernie and Laurie Gann, but when Morris was doing it, he had like the blackboard and the whiteboard, and he was giving out sheets, and it took everybody a very long time to realise that actually he made the whole thing up.
I'll tell you one thing. What Morris did bring by, so I would imagine, was the biggest bollockings that I used to give to players. Don't worry about that, because boy oh boy, he could rip into his players, and I've had it myself a couple of times. Don't worry about that. But it was a great turnout for the great man. It's another great character that's been lost to the game. But I'm sure him and Peter Fox will be having plenty of discussions up in the clouds from there now. But Sean, we were a little bit surprised from there. But Sean was there himself, and. He's looking forward to his 4-year stint in France at Rugby as a defence coach. It was very interesting words what he said to me. Why he wasn't going to Wigan. Very, very interesting.
Was he off to France? I didn't know.
He's going to France, yes, as the international defence coach. Yes.
Go on. What else is
I
happening?
didn't realise that was news.
It is now.
It is now, yeah. Oh, all that happens on this programme. All those fools who were listening elsewhere for the last 3 hours, I don't know. David wants to talk about Sean Long going to Harlequins.
Yes, that's been broken today. So, what do we make of that?
I find it strange because he's the assistant coach of St Helens, so he's gone as assistant coach to Harlequins, hasn't he? And then he's gone as the backs coach, which is that what he is at St Helens, and he's gone there as the attack backs coach at Harlequins, which I find very strange because I've been involved in Rugby. I went to Rugby for 2 years when I retired in Rugby League, and they're 2 totally different games. And one thing what you find very, very difficult for creating space is they've got 2 extra men on the field.
The big fat blokes as well.
To be honest with you, the big fat blokes get in the way. That's the problem with that game. They get in the way. The players they get in the way when you're looking to put a bit of creativity on because they can't think for themselves. And so I'm very, very surprised at that because he will find it very difficult. It will, because they're 2 totally different games. And when you look, because what you see in Rugby Union, and I'm sure we see it all the time now. We go pass the ball, but they don't. They go phase after phase after phase. And one thing Sean won't be allowed to say to him is say, listen, to have a look up, and then when he wants the ball, pass it, because the forwards won't pass it. They will just go phase after phase after phase. So he's assistant coach at St Helens. He's the attacks coach at St Helens. I can't understand why he wants to go to Rugby.
I can understand
very strange.
From 2 reasons. One is he'll be paying a lot of money.
Well, there you go then.
And also, I think it's a compliment to our sport. I think when you look at the amount of coaches that are being taken on by rugby union clubs, because they clearly don't have within their own ranks the expertise for how to move a ball in the same way that we do. They clearly admire the running game that we've got with.
Well, why aren't you part of the Great Britain setup then as a tax coach then? Why is it Andy Fowler the defence coach for Great Britain then? Why is it Sean Edwards part of the Great Britain setup? Why is it Mike Ford part of the Great Britain setup then?
maybe that.
I'll tell you why, Phil.
they're
Because our game don't want them, so they've got to go somewhere else.
But I think Sean is wanted. I think it's more to do with the fact that the people that make those appointments at the moment probably don't see them as part of it. We don't play enough international rugby.
I agree.
You know, in Sean Edwards in Rugby Union, if he's an international coach, we'll get probably 10, 12 tests a year. That's a job worth having.
Yeah,
Whereas here, we might get one every 2 years.
Yeah,
so it doesn't matter who's
Yeah.
our international coaches in some respects. There isn't a career progression in the same way in that. I just think it's a compliment how many, to our sport, it might harm us that so many of our talented coaches go and work in another sphere, but they clearly can't develop coaches themselves that have the same attacking vision that we've got. And the other interesting thing was that all of the coaches that Rugby Union got to start with were defensive coaches. Because they looked at the defensive Super League and thought, what we need to do is we need to get guys in that can teach our guys how to tackle. The defence in Rugby Union now is so good that they need to take our guys that are involved in attack to try and break down the defences that we've created for them. So I think it's really, I can see why they would go for him, I could see why he would go. I think that St Helens are astute enough to realise that they've let him go in the knowledge that they've got Richard Marshall coming in, who I think, you know, is
that confirmed, is it?
No, not yet. But
Well, Richard Marshall's got to sit down, is he?
as an assistant coach, taking Sean's role.
All
So I think that's the plan.
right.
So again, somebody who didn't, like you said, there aren't enough jobs in Rugby League. Someone who lost their job in Rugby League will come back in as an assistant at St Helens. So it's all part of that recycling. In some respects, it's good that Richard stays in the sport, but we lose Sean to achieve that. But I still think we should take this as a compliment.
Yeah, no, a lot of fair play to Sean Long. I'd just be surprised. He's had a couple of roles elsewhere that didn't work out for him. It'd be interesting how he gets on with that side.
Well, he's been there. Is it Samoa he's been? Is it Samoa or Fiji he's been? He's been
Samoa.
assistant coaches there. He's been international.
It seemed to be a
International
natural fit at St Helens. I know that's the club that he had all his success at, but he just, you know, to have him as the ingrained Saints guy that's come through that system and hold up with the fresh ideas, it sort of works.
Yeah, how have they been doing in the Rugby Union League, Harlequins? Are they up there? Are they where are they? The mid-table? Are they anywhere near?
I'll find out.
Yeah? But one of the show is going to find it very, very, well, I won't say difficult, but he's going to find it very, very strange because of obviously the two extra men on the field from there, and they go phase after phase after phase, and at times when the number 10 wants the ball, he don't get it because the forwards just want to keep it to themselves. So
but there's no point.
It'd be quite frustrating.
There's no point employing a guy if you're not going to listen to what he brings.
Hey mate, I agree.
Well, apparently he's a Rugby League legend according to the Telegraph. I didn't know the Telegraph knew Rugby League existed, but there you go. So that's interesting. I'm trying to find the...
is that because he's going to Rugby Union? He's now
Possibly. Like when Kieran Cunningham was a legend until they realised he wasn't actually Welsh and decided he wasn't Welsh in the first place. That was a classic, wasn't it? Then they did the same with Yestin Harris when they binned him off. But
I think
so. We don't talk about Yestin Harris because we don't talk about Bradford and then it all falls apart there.
Saints will be fine bringing Richard Marshall. So I don't think they're going to lose anything on the deal. And if Sean can double his money to do the same job, then good luck to him.
Yeah, no, exactly. Fair play to the guy. You can't knock anyone for running
He's got to try, and I think the line he's come out with today is the one that you would expect him to say, that, you know, it's the challenge and he's always wanted to test himself in another sport. And, as you said, I think Yestin used that line as well.
The challenge.
More interestingly,
It's the wage packet, lads. I'm going for the money. Don't worry
I've got
about
a picture of loads of money there. No, it's John money there. Loads of money there.
Jonathan Davis says that. Jonathan Davis says it now. He said, "You know what?" He said, "I made the silly mistake of saying, you know, I'm going to Rugby League because it's a new challenge. I didn't really. I went for the underground signing on fee."
and again, without wishing to plug a new issue of a certain
You are allowed.
a magazine
You are allowed.
that is out on Friday. In Brian Noble's column in the mag this month, he talks about the fact that there are 4 or 5 absolutely top-line Rugby Union players that he's been talking to that would sign for Rugby League. The 2 stumbling blocks are the one that we always talk about. That is
What, getting him a visa?
no. They may not be foreign and legal.
Right. I was joking, Phil. You could have played along with it. Just let me joke.
It's nice. But first is the salary cap restricts it.
Right.
Because it's all
Why does it? Can have a marquee player.
And it's Rugby Union, so you get more...
You get a dispenser, but at some point they come back to you and go, yeah, but at the moment I'm getting paid X, and X is far in excess of what we can generate as a sport.
That's life.
But
that's like saying I could go get someone from the NRL, but he's on $500,000 there. I'll give him 40 grand at Wakefield. I'm sure he'll come.
But if you've got a salary cap, you are restricted in who you can go out and get.
Who are these 5 players?
I don't know all of them are, but
Well, what was one of them?
I don't know any
And I'll tell-
Who does he play for England?
Plays for
And I'll tell you,
Yeah,
and I'll,
yeah,
and I'll tell you,
Why is he
well,
going to
give
come
it,
on, believe?
yeah,
Well,
give it a name.
because
When they're on 22 grand a test,
The
we're
other-
taking tests a year.
Yeah.
So that's 220 grand guarantee straight away.
the other thing.
Plus his 400 grand a year at his club.
Plus his sponsorship from Land Rover, the DHL, and
What's that?
champagne,
Wax jacket
Moe
So
champagne.
he's on 700 grand a year, but
He's giving mushy peas though. We're all
but
right.
he wants to come and play in the Super
No,
League.
but what he
Has he
that's-
got? I mean,
Get back
the-
on mushy
No,
peas.
the point I was going to make, which
Has
relates
he won the
back
lottery,
to
this fella, or
Sean Long, is the fact that actually there is an element within them where the money isn't the main issue, it's the challenge. And everyone that he's spoken to
Lord
has
of
said,
touch.
I want to know. They admire this sport and they
Yeah.
want to know if they can play it.
You know, if Radio Leeds games was and said,
Who's one of these players? And I'll tell you if they're good enough to play a league. Name one of these. Give me one of these the names,
I'm
Phil.
not going to betray a confidence.
No, I think that's
Well,
fair
it's
enough.
only two-
I also think
Well, it's
it's
in
very
magazine,
easy to
isn't
say,
it?
oh, they'd come.
Yeah.
Right, he could go, alright, go on then, Brian, get your checkbook out.
Yeah.
He might be in charge of the club next week. I don't know when they get a new gaffer.
Might be already.
They can apply for the
you
job.
don't want them bits, or
I'm saving
anyway, you save them for later. Yeah, until you go, here's 700 grand, you want to come and play
No
Toronto? And
chance.
they go, no, I'm alright, mate, I'd rather play for England.
Yeah.
You can't, it's very easy, isn't it, to say
I'm
there are
just saying
players
that
that
there
will
is
come.
part of the yes, Sean Long is undoubtedly going for money, but there is something behind people that want to challenge themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
Same with
But
Sam
it's funny,
Burgess.
it's funny how that challenge always comes when the money's right.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it's the combination of the
Yeah.
two.
It's like also.
He's not like he's not going to do some charity work. I'm going to do some
Exactly.
charity work in
The-
Super
the
League.
wider
Got
point-
those poor Northerners.
The wider point is that we could have some real high-profile people in our sport if we decided.
Do me a favour. Well, tell him to get his checkbook out and go buy one
You don't
then.
question the
He
sport and
may
everything.
well get one if they get.
Well, if he
promoted.
does, well, great. If he does, brilliant.
It's the same as John Clark leaving one, and he's only England set up now. You know, he'll be driving around in his big sponsored Land Rover and all this stuff. Fair play to him, you know. But we can't compete with Rugby
But
Union.
there
And
is-
these- and
there
these
is-
players, these 5 players who have said this is coming Rugby League, absolute load of touch.
There is
Load of
a
touch.
challenge element.
A challenge element.
Professional sports people want
Phil,
to test themselves.
Phil, how is he a challenge
At the
element?
highest
Right, how is he a challenge element?
Because they admire our sport.
Rubbish. They've got an
They're
international.
married. When, apart from Burrell, when was the last like international? And he's not even a
And he's past his sell by date, so we brought him now. But of course he is. So they've got at least 10 internationals, and then they've got the British Lions for the international candidate sort of thing.
There's a lot of very
And
good
they're
reasons why they won't.
on £22,000 per test match. Why the bloody hell would they want to come to league? For what
telling
reason?
you,
To test
some-
themselves.
Some of them do.
Challenge.
Some of them do.
So
They-
for the
they have-
unique
this
Rugby
is-
League experience, we're going to get you
Them
flat
di-
in Belle Isle as well.
This is the toughest
Phil,
team sport.
them
That's
days,
why I thought it goes
them
in
days,
Belle Isle,
have, them
but-
days have gone because we
Well-
used to pay more money in league, but now
for
we don't
some-
get anywhere near
What do,
them.
you, what do you mean more? They didn't get paid any money. Don't be insinuating that they got paid in their boots.
Oh,
It's ain't
no, what
insinuating.
about when the lads from the union signed when they come to league?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Don't be insinuating they were getting tax-free money.
There
from
is
the
a
union.
challenge
Course they were.
element.
God, if I was a full bank, I'll tell you that. Anyway, go.
No.
It's a nice thing. It's a nice thought, right? But until you come up with, if they're on 700 grand, they're going to have at least half a mil. No one in rugby league can afford to pay
No,
half.
they're not going to take. They're not going to take the punt
Well,
on the
maybe
market.
barring one club.
We took a punt at Leeds. Was supposedly the greatest rugby player? Question mark.
Oh, I've
And they
got a
were
bone.
crap.
I've got a bone to pick
And they
with
were
you
crap.
anyway, because you saw my social media at the weekend. I went out for a couple
yes.
of beers, and I found.
I never recognised him.
I recognised him straight away. And they were talking
never
about rugby
recognised
league. I met Simon Irving, the former Leeds player.
Egg box.
Why do you call him egg box?
We don't. He must have an head like an egg.
No, someone said apparently
Shape of
when
an
he was younger, he used to practice kicking off an egg box. I thought, I don't believe
No,
it.
he's got an egg. He's got an egg the shape of an egg. That's
Anyway,
what I
he said your name came up. He said, "Oh yes, good place." You know, good. I said,
No, I said good.
I found someone that thinks. Oh yes, I said you were a great player. I thought I found someone that actually thinks he's any good. And he told me the story you told me about David Ward and the teacups, which instantly made me laugh. But he was very complimentary. But he said, because I asked him about John Gallagher, and he said, "Well, Scott, you should like John Gallagher because John Gallagher arriving got you a pay rise."
No, it didn't.
Well, that's what he said.
Well, but listen,
That's what he said.
Hey, listen, I can tell you. I can tell you now.
He said you got double dough once John
Oh,
Gallagher. I've heard there were a bit of.
Hey.
Excuse me.
Hey,
Excuse me.
listen.
He's on how much?
I'll tell you exactly the story. He broke it to me. Neil Cardigan, we were in Papua New Guinea. He said, "Oh, Scotty, can I have a word?" So yeah, of course, can you? Have you heard the word reconciling Leeds have made? Oh, is it? Is it? Oh, yeah, Rugby Union, John Gallagher. Who? All right. Anyway, so I thought, I've got to make some inquiries here. Anyway, so I made some inquiries. Chief Executive, Alf Davis. Alf, who's this? John Gallagher, what's all this about? 350 grand. No, don't hear. Don't hear what this, and at the time I was on 20 grand a year. I was on 20 grand a year. And I said, Alf, what's this crack here? 350 grand. No, don't believe anything. It's nowhere near that figure. So I never got a pay rise. I got some extra money when Lawton came along, because if not, then it would have been. But when John Gallagher signed, did he get a pay rise? One little bit. And again, another chief executive telling the player lies when he's asking the question. John Gallagher, fair play to him. Signed for Leeds for 350 grand, £75,000 signing on fee, and 45 grand a year. He was paid double money than what I was on, and I never got a pay rise. I tried. I bloody well tried. I battered Alf Davis' door down 5 times, don't worry about that. But I didn't get a pay rise, I can tell you that. It's come from the horse's mouth.
He was. I don't think he's a fan of Doug.
No. Well, none of us were.
Yeah.
None of us were.
Well, somewhat. It's the witness lads he brought in, right?
Well, they were, yeah. But,
So there you go. So that was quite interesting.
Yeah, good point.
Good goal kicker.
Oh yeah, good goal kicker. Yeah, good golfer as well. And yeah, it was he came to his first training session at Leeds. He come from Rugby Union. Which Rugby Union did he come from? He came from.
He went to Keith, didn't he?
Yeah, he finished up at Keith. Anyway, so his first training session at Leeds, and he came, and then we didn't have a clue we were. And this smart kid, this good looking lad. So he had full head of hair. He had a smart looking kid, and so he came. And anyway, so we were running around like we do, and then we get ripped into it. And then all of a sudden, we are behind the sticks. I bet he's had his tea before he's come training. Exactly. Had the full masses. That's what you can do with Rugby Union. He'd had the full masses. We started training at 7. He had the full masses at 5:30. It was all over Henley by 7:15. That was his first. So that was the impression. What he made on the lads, thinking, here we go, another show pony Rugby Union player. But he wasn't a bad player, Simon. Wasn't a bad player. Yeah, old egg box. Yeah.
We've been asked.
Mind boggles.
We've been asked if we're going to talk about the championship. See, I left a little pause there, so I did that and make that clip. We're going to talk about the championship in a minute. You can tell when women's sport has a higher profile, because if you look in the bookmakers' winners at the minute, women's World Cups everywhere, and you can bet on women's Super League. So I was immediately drawn to Catalans Tigers -24 at Bradford Bulls on Thursday, only for Bradford to score late and scupper it.
I didn't realise you'd had a bet on it.
I had a bet. I'd tipped it, which is worse. So well done, Cass. You've won again. And you're talking about players in Rugby Union earning 22 grand a test match. I'm sure Andrea Dobson wished she'd have got that, but she's retired from International Rugby League.
Fair play.
After 24 caps since 2003. So
what I can't understand is, sorry, when we talk about with that being paid, for your country. For me, I don't think you should be paid for your country. You should get your expense and that's it. When I first played for Great Britain, our pay check was 150 quid a win and £70 a loss. And when you was on tour, you got paid your weekly wage, and then you were on a bonus if you won the test match, and then you share it out from there. But why the Rugby Union? Why do they pay 20?
They make that much money.
Yeah, I understand that, but
it's irrelevant, isn't it?
But surely, why because Barclays now the England players, they get paid 10 grand a test match. I just don't understand it. Why do you need to pay players that? Because the players really, even now in the day, if they said, all right, you're playing international rugby league, but you don't get paid for it, it won't bother me. Because you play for your
country. It might not bother some of the lads today, but some of them would want the money, wouldn't they?
I buy into that, mate. Yeah, but why do they pay them so much? I don't get it.
I don't know.
Don't get it.
Cost they can.
Yeah, fair enough. We've talked all about Super League, so we'll have a look at the Championship then. Go on then, where do you want to
go? Do you want to start with the news from the Championship?
Yes.
That's what people want to
talk. Go on then.
Knock on. Swinton versus Toronto, which took on much more interest after a series of tweets and things on Thursday, which led to the departure of the chairman and CEO of the Wolfpack, and some bizarre social media involving none of the people who are actually involved in this incident. They're just people, A, point scoring against Toronto because they don't like Toronto, or B, point scoring for the owner of Toronto because they like the owner of Toronto. It doesn't matter what he's done in the past or what he said or this and that and the other. All that matters in this case is what he has said, which he has admitted he has said, which the person who he said it to found offensive. That's all that matters.
Right,
Nothing else in this incident matters. It doesn't matter if David Agar's done a million different great things in the past. He's made a mistake, he's admitted a mistake, and that's what we're dealing with.
Shouldn't take long for the RFL to find on that because he's effectively pleaded guilty.
For everyone to pile on, it's like this whataboutism.
Well, is the RFL thing now irrelevant anyway, given that he's...
They might decide to fine him, in which case the money.
Well, that's going to hurt a multi-millionaire.
No, it's not going to hurt him, but it will go into the coffers of the organisation, which I'm sure they'll be very grateful for.
Here's a question.
How
long do you think he'll be back, won't he?
It has to set a precedent as well, so that nobody else does it. So you have
Look, no one here condones what he's saying. Like any sane person would condone what he's said, to be honest. I think that's the problem, isn't it? He's
and I'm not sure.
And
I think Brian McDermott found just about the right words after the game. That you can't call him honourable because he's done something that's completely dishonourable, but you can say that the way he has reacted to that deserves some form of recognition. He hasn't tried to bluff his way out. He's not doing a Michael Gove, is he, and saying I may well have snuffed my nose full of cocaine, but really it doesn't matter. He said, I have made that statement. I admit now that I shouldn't have made it. It was wrong. I've seen the offence that it caused. And if somebody in my organisation had done it, I would have sacked them. Therefore, I am sacking myself. So there's nothing honourable about making the statement that he did, but that is the honourable course of action, having made the mistake that you made. The RFL need to set a legal precedent saying if anybody else were to behave in this way, they get a 20-year ban from ever being involved in a club and a £6 million, whatever it is, whatever they decide to do, they have to do something.
Does it apply to everyone now, or just club owners? Because obviously
it should be across the board. And one of the things as well that came up in the debate, which is really, yes, that we hear stuff said on the terraces that is not a million times dissimilar to the sort of thing that David Argyle has said in a public arena where fans are abusing either their own players or players of the other side. We put out this stupid catch-all rugby league is a family game and we do nothing. We don't eject people from the ground, we don't identify them, we don't fine them, clubs don't, unless it's something absolutely major, don't really do anything to get to the root of the problem. We can't afford the right amount of stewards, so nobody ever gets ejected during a game. The sport has to take this seriously, but use it to filter it down throughout every level of it. Otherwise, it's a here today, gone tomorrow issue.
It's going to be interesting exactly what they do.
I'm not sure what
David's involvement will be moving forward. Is he going to take time away and then come back at a later time?
I think the important thing for Toronto and those who are followers of him is he going to maintain his investment.
Well, he said he is.
Because you can be an investor without being a chairman and a chief executive. That means you won't have any involvement in the day-to-day running of the club, which is something that he was very, very keen and passionate about.
It is more of a worry for Toronto, this Darcy Lussick story, that he's on the wrong visa and he hasn't been able to get back in.
Is he on the wrong visa, or did he upset the people on? I haven't heard exactly the reason, but there is a story going round that because he'd filled in a visa wrong himself and abused the people that were checking visas, they immediately said to him, "You're not coming in." Is it partly to do with Darcy Lussick and the way he handled that issue, or is it to do with the administration of visas at that club? That's something that we need to get a definitive answer on. I think there is partly this is an issue with the person who was involved who didn't handle the coming back into the country very well.
I don't know. We don't know the full facts.
That's one of the things I've heard.
Something that
it will come out because I know our good friend John Davidson's looking at a lot of other issues.
Where's he now? Where is it?
Back in Australia.
Oh, he's gone back home, is he?
He had to.
Well, he can't get in.
He was effectively deported back to where he come from.
Oh.
Now is not a time to be deported from this country. I'll get back. Do we use this then as a positive, as a watershed moment and go, right, that's it, no more? Because obviously players have been banned in the past for using racist language on the pitch. Players have been banned for homophobic abuse of officials. And I know people get upset because I mentioned this, but it's true. It happened. Clubs have been fined for homophobic abuse of a player or had suspended fines. I was watching the game yesterday. You could clearly hear the Swindon fans shout at the referee when he made a mistake, "You bent so-and-so." Whatever connotation you want to make of that, that certainly doesn't have any respect for the referee because he made a decision. Where does the game go? Because we can turn this into a positive. This should not be a thing where we have to, in the next 6 months, years, whatever, go over and over and over again
It's a positive if you don't use this as a single issue. If you don't say, there's the punishment for that person at that time for what he did, but you set down ground rules and say, and that is what we're going to measure it against from now on. And that's where we need to be far more responsible about how we deal with these things, because completely and utterly there is no defence for David Argyle. And I don't think anybody here would try and make one for it.
Some people have, don't they?
Yeah,
So
but
that's not fun.
I don't
Really
think
poor.
I don't think we would. I think that, and the fact that he's realised the magnitude of what he said and the way in which it's affected the person that he said it, then he hasn't waited for the investigation to tell him he needs to step down. He's stepped down. So, but I do think as a sport, we need to now say, right, this is bigger than this one issue. This might highlight an issue that we've got, but England football have got the same issue, haven't they? You know, they don't know the next time a black player is insulted in a foreign environment whether they should walk off the pitch or not. They need to establish what they would do in that situation. And they need to say, look, you know, if Danny Rose feels that he's being racially abused, as a team, whatever the score is, we're walking off. We're not accepting that.
Yeah.
And if we've got followers that can insist on using the kind of abusive language that we are taking a stand against, then we are going to find out who those followers are, because we don't want them following our team anymore.
You could clearly hear on the... I felt sorry for Ben Pro yesterday because he was trying to commentate on the game and had to apologise every 2 minutes because of the language, either picked up by the referee's mic or by the mics in the crowd. You could hear someone shout during the game, effing racists at Toronto. You know, so it's already been turned into a stick to beat to club with. Now, we may as well just bin off this whole family game thing because we all know it's nonsense. And not to say that, you know, if you take your family to a game, they're not going to enjoy themselves. There's going to be bad language there. That's not right, but that's just part of the game for whatever reason. I know our friend Stephen's been in touch with you, Mark. He's been talking to me about it on the weekend. He had problems at the weekend at Bellevue. We paint ourselves an image that doesn't exist and has never existed, and we pretend it has. And that probably makes it worse, because we're making out things that aren't real. We're living in this fantasy world of, oh yeah, everyone goes to the game and claps each other. No, boo and hate each other. We all shout abuse at the players, which we know we shouldn't do for mental health reasons, but we do.
I think you can extend this into social media. I think this is another issue where the Callum Watkins situation comes into it. That we are a sport that likes to think we champion mental health. That we've got people like Luke Ambler and Stevie Wood that are moving the boundaries forward, that are trying to take away the stigma. Rugby League Cares and you know, all of the state of mind organisations that are set up there for us to say as a sport we're in the vanguard of mental health. And yet people are so vitriolic on social media.
That's any sport. That's any sport.
No, but it's But we need to get this message across that it affects people's mental health. So you can't, on the one hand, and Callum Watkins said he had to come off social media. His wife.
You know what, right? And I said this the other day. I think a lot of people could do with coming off social media, because I think people, and I'm not condoning what say, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And I said last week I was surprised by the reaction, the ill feeling to Callum, given that he's leaving late. It was disgusting. But I do think that's everywhere now. Anyone does well or perceived to be doing well, people are just quick to criticise.
But it's something we as a sport can take to the next level. And if there are so-called fans of clubs who make their allegiances known on social media, who are abusing people because they're not feeling that they're performing for that club like they should have done, they should be made unwelcome. Even if they're season ticket holders who have them revoked. There are ways of making a stand, and I think that's the David Argyle thing, that whatever stand we take as a sport, it then has to be rolled out. We have to take this whole thing seriously.
Well, I agree.
Whatever form of abuse it is, it can't just be David Argyle made a mistake, let's hung, draw and quarter him and we've got rid of the problem. We haven't.
No, I agree with that. I agree. It's such a tough... You just don't even want to be talking about it, but you can't ignore it, or you can't go, well, he's gone now, so it doesn't matter, we won't talk about it again, because, again, you're just presuming it doesn't matter.
And I also think full credit to Jose Kenga for making an issue of it as well.
We'll see. It's going to rumble, isn't it? We'll see what happens. I mean, yeah, like you said, the big thing coming out of it is not in any
Do you know,
way denied it or tried to deny it, so they're going to have to punish you.
Yeah, this comment, you know, what David Argyle said to Joe Kinga, I'm not saying either way what he said, it's totally wrong, but did Argyle think it was just like something was saying in jest and then that'd be the end of it to Joe Kinga, or, you know, did he think that he wouldn't make anything about it?
I think some people have come out and tried to say that, but the facts are, and people go, oh, he's not that kind of person. Well, he said it, so he is.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You know,
that's the thing.
David
Argyle,
Argyle,
even if it's
saying jest.
unconscious,
it's
the
not.
fact that you would think of saying
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but David Argyle thinking, well, I'll say, well, he thought he said it in jest, but he wouldn't go as far as that.
Only David Argyle.
He's good. Yeah, it's disgusting.
The kind of comments people make in their social circles with people who know and understand context are different than making comments to people who are strangers.
But also as well, I think it's interesting for me. What I seen from the RFL is that they wanted to keep it confidential. Well, that's just telling me they didn't want this to go out into the public domain, and also too, they don't want to deal with it properly. That's what's telling me from them. I think
their official line was they wanted a written report from each side.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen it all.
And until it
But
came they didn't want
they wanted it all
and I
private
think because
and
it had
confidential.
gone on for 5 weeks and nothing had been seen to happen, I think Kenga took it upon himself to go on social media.
Yeah.
Which I can't blame him for.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. You know, he wasn't getting anything from the powers that be and thinking, well, stuff on them.
And I think you're right. Why should you keep it confidential?
Well, why is it taking 5 weeks?
Yeah, why is it taking 5 weeks exactly?
Where were these written reports coming from? Who wasn't submitting a report that they should have done?
Well, hopefully that'll come out.
But
We'll move on now. We're not happy about it. I think we've got to wait and see what the punishment is and wait and see what David Argyle's intentions are.
If we're serious about whatever family means, we have to behave far more responsibly than we are at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a game on was it the Challenge Cup tie between Wigan and Warrington, where there was clearly evidence of abuse being hurled at James Child, who'd actually just sent a decision upstairs. He hadn't even disallowed a try. He just said, but it was clearly shown over and over
that
again.
Is a perfect response because you could, as a club, identify who they are.
What have we done?
You're not welcome to make a biggie, but they don't, and that's
And that's what I'm saying. That this don't treat this in isolation.
When you compare the incident with Argyle to the incident at Salford with the young gentleman, the young family that were abused in Salford, and they all made guests and everything, what does that say about that? You know, it's horrible, isn't it? It's horrible, and it does need sorting out. I'm with you on that one.
So, I mean, Richard says here, so, just forget about it. How on earth do you make a stand against so-called fans who use social media as a platform to abuse others playing the Skyfield? Well, we won't do anything then.
Because if you can identify those people on social media as being season ticket holders of a club could revoke that season ticket.
Or ban them from the ground regardless.
Elsewhere, there are things you can do. If you do nothing, what is happening will continue to happen.
Well, it'll get worse.
Big result for Toulouse, winning 25-18 at York.
Yes,
so they're 4 points ahead of Fev, Lee and York themselves now. Big result for Fev, winning away at Sheffield.
Mr. Carr's doing a good job, isn't he?
Yeah, 38-18 at Sheffield yesterday.
Again, the crowd at York at 1600 on a Saturday afternoon when there was a game on Sky at the same time and various other counter attractions. I think again, hats off to the City Knights for the way they're promoting the game at the moment.
Got to be concerned about Rochdale, haven't you? They've only won once all season, and then they lost to. I'm not saying Dewsbury are a bad team. I think I've only seen them once at the match, but
66 points.
Yeah, that's a thrashing.
Prior to that game, Dewsbury scored 230 points in 14 games. They had the worst attack bar in Rochdale, and they've just gone and scored 66 points. Rochdale, who got rid of their coach Alan Kilshaw at the end of last year, and look at them now. That's worked out well.
Well, again, it just tells the directors who are realistically idiots and haven't got a clue what they're doing. Simple as that.
Bradford and Halifax, both of course were knocked out of the 1895 Mega Degsies Decking Cup at the weekend, the midweek rather. But Bradford bounced back with a 16-0 win over Batley. Sounds like just had to do it tough in the rain, and Fax beaten 31-8 at Lee, so Lee are in those playoff spots. Halifax outside them, and Widnes another win for them, 38-14 at home to Barra. Speaking of coaches clubs who've sat their coaches, and we laugh at them because they go on and lose. Hunslet winning 34-0 against Keighley on Friday night. They've got another Friday night game this weekend.
Against Donny,
Yes, that'll be a big one because Doncaster thrashed Oldham yesterday, 31-0. On the hour league.
Stupid question this, but why would Hunslet want to play at home on a Friday night when Leeds are at home to Wigan on a Friday night just up the road?
I don't know.
I mean, again, we said it. Richard and I were talking about this when we were at Wakefield. You know, Wakefield and Castleford both playing at home at the same time. It's almost as if, you know,
The highest crowd in League One this week was 915.
Catalan and Toulouse playing at exactly the same. It's almost as if we've got this self-destruct button sometimes about planning our fixtures so that we can.
Well,
we're
it's
trying our
almost,
hardest to get.
it's almost like having a game on the Our League app at 3 o'clock on Sunday between Lee and Bradford, two of the best supported teams in the competition. So why you put that on Our League anyway, I don't know. But why you would have it on when there are another 8 games kicking off at the same time?
Or do you mean like
bends
having
the mind.
Or on Sky this Saturday, we've got Catalan at home and we've got Toronto at home, both on Sky, both at the same time.
I'm working. I won't be able to watch 2 channels at once. Newcastle win again, 38-12 at the Crusaders. They're signing another player tonight, apparently, as well.
Signing a very good player,
Who's that?
an Aussie,
Is
Top of Samoan international.
Is an Aussie Samoan international?
this
Who's
one they've
this?
already announced? Or
Yeah,
is
it's
this
just
not?
announced it.
Who's this?
Not announcing another one as well,
I can't remember
apparently.
his name.
Oh, Newcastle.
West Wales 12, Workington 58. Come on, West Wales, get that win. And Whitehaven 32, Cov 18. Come on, Coventry, of course, who are. No team. You don't want to be a team from Coventry who actually are from Coventry because you get
Kicked out.
screwed over. So, like Coventry City are actually playing Birmingham because of the
You
Wasps.
know, you're the same. We'll send you to Coventry.
Yeah.
Well, the teams in Coventry can't allowed in.
Coventry Bears are now going to play their games, the next
Rugby.
2 games in rugby, at a ground which is named after, or a ground on a road which is named after a complete myth. It's like Harry Potter Lane.
Interesting.
Matthew Wright is the Samoan.
What, the guy off of Channel 5?
Okay. Just quickly on the Championship then. Toronto and Toulouse at the top. Fevley and York all on 20. Bradford and Sheffield on 18. Fax on 16. Looks to be between those 8. Now, Batley, I'm sure I'll have words about that, but it looks to be between those 8. It's all John, fair play to Lee. We give him a bit of stick
There's
start of the
another player
season.
today.
But look, they're going about their business well. The fans are clearly backing the club.
Yeah.
3,361.
They might get to Wembley.
They're doing all right. Yeah, they're doing all right.
I better find the draw on
They're
there.
doing all right.
Oh,
Yeah, just quietly.
This was great, wasn't it?
That's a big game, by the way, Lee Bradford this week.
Massive.
On the Our League app, but sadly, loads of other games on.
The 1895 Cup, of course, which is the Deggsy's Decking Cup, as we've, somebody else has called it.
I'm going to say, we would refer to it as the AB Sundex 1895 Cup.
The RFL, of course, thought, well, Bradford are in it, Halifax are in it, we'll book the draw for Radio Leeds and their loony breakfast show. And sadly, they got knocked out. So the quarter-final draw, Widnes versus Dewsbury, York versus Batley, Lee versus Barra, and our favourite one, this is the teams not allowed in the Yorkshire Cup tie, Doncaster versus Sheffield, which will be played at Featherstone. And they will be played on the week of the June 24th.
Which means midweek 26th.
So I might go to that game. And Fev, just there's a bit of solidarity for our South Yorkshire brethren. Especially because I thought I might have upset Sheffield yesterday by saying the ground's not great. But I didn't mean it in terms
Yeah,
of...
and
It's not their fault.
It was second that way, wasn't it?
Regular listeners of TalkSport Extra Time will know for years I used to say to Bob Ballard, it's all Sheffield's council's fault.
Right, let's get on to the world famously bad predictions.
We hate all your teams.
Oh,
every
I
team
got Leeds spot on last week, 10.
You know, some kind of
Medal. Like
Trophy.
Butley. Have you seen all those
We don't
donuts that disappear?
on the floor.
That flask will do full up.
By the way, it's just
It's got some of that stone in it, though.
London Broncos have been... They've noticed you've got the cup on there. They've been using our Facebook feed to plug their merchandise, the London Broncos.
So,
LondonBroncos.co.uk.
Come on, the Bronx.
Send us
I
some
even
more
got
free
bought a pint yesterday. That was great. Yeah, great hospitality.
stuff. Before
Did I get any mention? Did the silver meat come down?
No, don't think so.
Okay.
Not
Oh,
long
so-
winning.
No,
Oh.
no. Only to throw stuff at you on the field. I think.
That's a bit
That might have got mentioned.
It's a bit harsh.
Right, big game. Well, there's some big games in Super League this weekend. We kick off on Thursday night with the Yorkshire Derby. Castleford take on Hull. 7:45 start down at the Jungle. Both sides won last week. It's fourth at fifth. What do you think, Scully?
Well, all the Castleford players, they've got to start playing exactly like Liam Watts is doing. They've got to start getting them to the 8 and 9 out of 10 performance to beat Hull for me on Thursday night. And if they don't, I just feel as though Hull, this week, I think they'll turn the tap on. And I think they'll turn the tap on for a lot longer than what they've been doing in games over the last few weeks. I know they've been winning, but marginally winning, and they should have beaten Salford Country last week. But I just don't think Casford are playing well enough. I don't think they'll get the performance like Liam Watts is doing from all the players from there, from 1 to 17. So I'm going for the black and whites. Forward dominating, Mark Sneed, good kicking game. Albert Kelly, rip him apart. I'm going the black and whites by 10.
I think Darryl said, was it a fortnight ago, that effectively from mid-season to the end now it starts again, and that they needed to start putting things like the injury roster behind them, that more players were going to become available to them, and they needed to almost start the season anew. I'm not sure they did that from everything that we've heard about last week's game, that there was an element of fortune. I think they have to. I think, you know, we talk about who's going to be dragged into what part of the table. I'm just not sure we could take Cass too seriously as a team that could win the competition, which ultimately is still their aim, if they don't beat Hull at home. Having won narrowly at home to Huddersfield at this vital part of the season where you've got to start putting results together, I'm going to go with the fact that they probably will do that. So I'm going to go Cass by 8.
I think about tossing a coin on this one. I'm going to go with the Tigers as well. I'm surprised they haven't scored as many points as you would have thought this year, but they have been defensively much better and far better than Hull, who've conceded 473, and Cass have conceded 364. But I guess Hull have had those 2 or 3 games where they've conceded a ridiculous number of points, haven't they? But I'm still going to go with Cass, although it'll be interesting to see who is on winding up Liam Watts duty. I will go for Castleford by 4.
Cass against Hull. Cass have got a few fixtures after this one. They've got London and I think Salford, London there next to then Leeds, that they'll really think that they can win. So I think they'll see this as a real big turning point in their season. Hull got Catalan next week, then they play Hull KR in the derby. We mentioned Hull in one week out the other. I think they want to get the points this week to put a gap between themselves and the Tigers. I won't say they'll chuck it in, go to Catalans, because they won there early in the season. Not many have done that, and then they'll put it all in against Hull KR. I think this is a big game for Hull FC, and I think they'll be revved up. And Castleford have got to be better. If they play like they did last week, they won't win. It's as simple as that. So I'm going to go for Hull by 7. 7! Right, Leeds against Wigan, Friday night, Gary Scuff.
We're on the roll. We're on the roll. Ahoy!
Does 2 constitute a roll?
We're on, absolutely. We're on the roll from there, and all right.
Are they playing for the Sean Wayne Trophy?
We can manage to get the 2 points against Hulkiston Rovers, but Leeds, they've got a bit of confidence back, and they've got that bit of spirit, and I'm sticking with them. You know, as I said last week, I'm getting a tune out of him. His old Richie boy from there, so. Yeah, I'm sticking with him. I can't go against him, and Wigan aren't that good, to be honest with you. From there, I feel as though Leeds, they're back at home. Should be a big crowd from there. Massive game, as we all know. These 2 big are the biggest clubs in the game today. I'm going Leeds. You just mentioned Hull by 7, Mark, and I'm going. Even though Leeds are absolutely pathetic at setting up for drop kicks, I'm still going for Leeds, and I'm going Leeds by 7.
I think there were 2 encouraging things from a Leeds perspective at Wakefield. One is nilling opponents. Incredibly difficult to do in Super League, and I think it's the first time since 2006 that Leeds have nilled a team away from home. But I think more importantly was Richard Ago was talking about little wins and celebrating them, and that comes down to things like making the sort of tackle that Conrad Hurrell did on Ben Jones-Bishop, and the whole of the team coming over and congratulating. It's little things like that that show a team is moving slightly in the right direction. For that victory against Wakefield to mean anything, Leeds have to back it up at home. So I'm going to go Leeds by 6, which won't surprise anyone.
It was like watching doubles tennis. You know, they cheer each other after every point.
Yeah. Even when they hit into the net about a foot off the floor.
Come on, lads. Come on.
It was Leeds.
It's called team spirit. Come on, it's called team spirit and enthusiasm.
And that is one of the things that Richard Ago has been stressing.
Correct.
Well, we like Richard Ago. I think he gets unfairly blamed for everything that's wrong at the clubs he's worked at, when usually it's somebody else's fault completely. Leeds are back. 2 in a row. Can't believe it. They're good now. I remember last week I said they were crap, but they're good now because they're beating Wakefield. We're going to knock back, aren't they? Yes, they've beaten Hull KR. I thought they would have won more comfortably, although...
What's up with Hardacre?
I don't know.
Didn't he leave the field injured?
Leeds looked
And Sargent apparently was very good at fullback.
maybe, at the start of the season I thought Leeds would do well because they didn't lose too many players as opposed to Wigan, and maybe I obviously didn't realise how bad David Fernand would be as an appointment, and it does seem that Richard Agar has got the team gelled. See, when it's good it's Richard Agar, when it's bad it's Kevin Sinfield. So I will go with Leeds by, I'll go the same as Phil, I'll go Leeds by 6.
I think Leeds are going to win. I think
Go,
Leeds
go,
are
you
gonna
put
win.
it
I think at this stage of the season, also having 2 days extra to prepare
Yes.
does mean something.
Yeah, tough game for Wigan at the weekend. It'll be tight. I've got in my mind that 9-8. Was it 9-8 last year? I've got that. I think this has got a golden point, so I'm going for the draw.
The draw.
But in golden point, I think Leeds will win. So Leeds by 1.
Well,
but
I hear with
draw.
a 50-metre drop.
Well, I'm not bothered who kicks it. I think Leeds will win. I think they may have turned a corner.
4 of us are going for Leeds.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's it. Guaranteed. We've
That'll be
done
the-
it. Guaranteed.
Fingers crossed.
Guaranteed. we're gonna-
Will that be the first time in 4 years?
Saints against Huddersfield.
Yeah, well, Huddersfield, they won that game last week against Cass, not just once, not just twice, 3 times, they still come away empty. And one place they don't want to go, that will be after getting a defeat against the bottom side in London. But having said that, London was absolutely outstanding, but St Helens are licking their wounds, and they'll be waiting for the Giants. Come Friday night, Justin Holbrook, I would imagine quietly, he would have been rushing his players from London back up to St Helens, and I would imagine he will be doing that all week, and he will get a response, and he will get a response, and I think it will be quite positive. And I'm going to St Helens by 18.
If they can keep Gaskell quiet, who will want to clearly impress upon the club that initially let him go, then I think Saints will win. I think Holbrook was open-minded enough to say that result yesterday, although he would have preferred not to have had it, won't hurt them. And I think what he means by that is that you learn more at this stage of the season from your deficiencies than winning every week. I think you will take that onto the training field. I do like the way Simon Wolford is getting his team playing at the moment. They're hard to break down, which as a coach is what you'd want. But I just think that there's too much guile and speed at Saints, and they will win by 10.
St Helens will win. Then
Michael Will said Saints won last week.
Yeah,
What did
so
we do?
we'll have all the Huddersfield fans will be having a go as this week, so I'll look for the deluge of tweet.
Right, no, hold on. For any Huddersfield fans to have a go at us, should they lose on Friday night, right?
Yeah.
They need now to send in a message saying that they believe Huddersfield are going to win.
Showing the
So
best.
therefore, we can go, you're right and we were wrong. Rather than it's easy after the event to go, oh, you got it wrong. Well, what do you
I tell
think?
you what, all those people that backed Anthony Joshua to lose last week will be
Yeah.
millionaires this week because they all roll it over onto London Broncos. You can't believe it.
Yeah, it's so easy.
Especially what would Saints have been minus 20 or something? I don't know.
16, I think.
16?
Yeah.
That's not bad. So I'm going for Saints to win because they will bounce back. They will have brought some players back. Yes, they've got no James Roby, but they're still quite good. I've seen them on the telly, and they will win by 12.
Yeah, I like Huddersfield. I think they're a good, honest team, but I think that honesty only gets you so far. And I think a few of their deficiencies were showed up this week. They only lost by 6 in the cup. I think Huddersfield were fortunate, in my opinion. It was only 6. I think if Saints had turned it on, and I think following a defeat, there will be an expectation, despite the fact it's a 5-day turnaround, that they'll kick on. I think Saints will win quite easily. I think they'll win by 22. Right, Catalans against London.
Yeah, well, London, as I say, as we all know what happened, St Helens, brilliant from there. The Catalans, they're back at home. McNamara's been looking for this for the last few weeks from there. Can London maintain it? No, I don't think so. I don't think it's one of them. This is the fixture where Danny Ward has ticked the box in from there. So it's quite simple for me for the Catalans Dragons. Drop Matty Smith, put Langy at number 6, plenty of service to the outside backs. The forwards will lay the foundation. And I think the Catalans will win by 20.
I again think that you're right when you say that coaches are astute enough to look at the battles they can win as opposed to necessarily the ones
Play OKR the week after.
that's the game.
Yeah.
And
At London.
And I think they'll look at who Hull KR are playing and think, well, the likelihood is that they'll probably lose. And I just think the effort that they will have expended to beat St Helens, again, on a very short turnaround to fly out to Catalan. Steve McNamara has said, we want the home comforts. Well, you've got to show that you deserve them this week. You've got to go out there and play particularly well in front of your own crowd and keep yourself in that top 3. So I'm going to go Dragons by 12.
It's one of those games, I've gone for a number, but I can easily see Catalans winning this by 2 points or something, just sneaking a win somehow. But as you say, London have got bigger fish to fry. Catalans back at home, they want to show that the last 2 weeks have been just a blip, and we don't really like at home. I'll go for Catalans by 14.
You just can't overestimate the importance of that game the following Thursday. London have to beat Hull KR, in my opinion. It's as simple
and the
as
fact
that.
that it is a Thursday as well.
It's a Thursday night. They're coming back from Catalans. I think if you said to Danny Ward, you lose by 30, but everyone will be fully fit, he'd go, well, that'll do. We won't bother going. He'd take that now.
Yeah.
Points difference could be crucial. They won't want to get battered. I'm sure Catalan will have a few missing this week. I can't believe they'll be as bad as they were in the second half. I think they'll win Catalans. I'm going to say by 30. And that's not saying London aren't any good. I think now, if you set to Danny Ward, you can lose this week and win the week after, you go, that'll do me. I'll take that right now. They don't have to beat Catalan. What they do is they have to beat Hull KR, so I think they'll get beat. I'll go Catalans by 30. I don't want that to be true, by the way, but that's what I'm saying. Hull KR Warrington also on Saturday at 3 o'clock. The Legend.
Yep, big game as well, and there's been no Tony Smith against the Warrington Wolves. 9 years he spent there at Warrington, but Hull KR, quite simple, they can't find a way to win, and I can't see them finding a way to win against Warrington either. And the closing the gap, they're only 4 points behind here, with tipping St Helens will beat the Giants, so that go back to 6-0. Warrington will keep it going. Hull KR can't find a way to win. They will not win. Warrington, they've got all the big players. They're in form. They'll carry that on. I'm going Warrington by 14.
I think OKL know that they can trouble Warrington because they did within the last 20 minutes of the cup game between the two of them. But the first hour, Warrington were ridiculously dominant. I think the Tony Smith impact against the first of his former clubs that he'll come up against, it will have an effect. And I think much of it depends on whether Danny Maguire's shaken off his pulled calf in training and can play. If he can't, I can't see Hull KR winning because I just don't think they've got the firepower. So we're predicting this without knowing the squads. Warrington will probably just edge it maybe by 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if Hull KR won this game.
We didn't really get a chance to speak about Tony Smith, did we? It's a bit of a surprise that he's taken this job when there were other bigger jobs out there, it seems. But maybe he's wanting the challenge.
Maybe he's putting himself in the shop window for those bigger jobs.
For next season, yeah, perhaps. But nothing's really changed. They still lost at the weekend. And Warrington are quite good, as we said earlier. They might even win Super League this year. So I'm going to go for Warrington to win by 18 points.
One of two outcomes. Warrington go win by 30, blow them off the field. I'm not so convinced that they will away from home. I'm with you. I've got a sneaky feeling here, and we're all of a sudden we're in that result last week. As they'll be talking this week, like it or not, KR, they'll be talking about playing for their futures now. And that'll be getting mentioned.
We've
been here before. We start this week. I'm going to give Hull KR a chance. I think Hull KR might win. I do. I think they might win. I think we saw who's it getting treatment on his hamstring. Didn't seem to affect him when he scored the try. Did it, Austin? But I just wonder. I think we see how tough Hull KR are this week, and if they come out and play and win, then you've got to say fair enough. They've got a habit of shooting themselves in the foot. They could have and should have beaten, in my opinion, Warrington in the cup the other week. They either get blown away or they win. I'm going to say they win. They win by 2. And the big one, Salford Wakefield Sunday.
Yeah, well, Ian Watson's already mentioned it's all about attitude for the Salford Red Devils, and if I'm honest with you, for Wakefield, I'm keeping it short and sweet for Wakefield. I'm not having them. I'm just simply not having Wakefield Trinity. I think they're kidding themselves at they can challenge for Old Trafford. Totally kidding themselves. I'm not having them. Salford Red Devils, they come out with the right attitude, and I'm sure they will do after last weekend's performance, even though they only got beat by 3 points. Watson wasn't happy. They'll want to put on the show. I think this will be easy for the Red Devils. I'm going Salford by 20.
Woohoo! Both teams have got to stop the rot. again, we don't know what the respective 19s are going to be. We suspect that the Sal Pauly loan exchange will see them playing against the clubs that they've just been guesting for. But it seems as though, again, Chris Chester's someone we all admire. I think we enjoy being in his company. We like what he says. He seemed a bit tetchy on Friday night. The first time I've ever seen it for a while. That he was almost annoyed with his team because he felt that they had made chances, but they didn't have the ability to take them. But he also mentioned as well that they'd come up with more injuries. That Ashurst looks like he's going to be out. Who was the other player that he said they might have lost?
Yeah, I think Batchelor got mentioned. Yeah.
So I just think at the moment Wakefield are in that horrible place where they can't get a settled team out there. I'm going to give Salford the last chance to cling on to the 5 this week rather than look down below them. So I'm going to go Salford by 10.
I'm going to go Wakefield by the same number, but Junior Sal will probably score a hat-trick, having failed to score the same against Leeds on Friday. At least they created chances against Leeds, that's what Chris Chester said, but I think it's 3 defeats in a row now. Not good. Things looking a lot different.
3 or 4 Super League defeats?
Oh, can't remember. It's too many.
Is
I
it
think
4
it's
including
too
the
many.
cup?
Too many. And
4 including
they
the
need
cup,
to. They need to win, and they're not going to have a better opportunity, especially with Warrington away the week after, than at Salford this week, because otherwise it becomes a bit of a slump. I remember our friend Andy Kelly got sacked after 5 defeats in a row at Wakefield by a crap regime. Look what happened to them. I was going to say worse, but I thought it's still libel laws and stuff. So Wakefield will win by 10, but this is a massive game. I'm not going to be there, but I hope it's better than that game when I commentated on the other year with John Davison, because that was.
They have chucked in a few stinkers at Salford, Wakefield. I do want them to win, but I'm with you. I think they might struggle. They need a win. It's one of them. If they get a win, they're all right. If they don't get a win, then, like I said, next week it's like, oh well, yeah, where is the next win coming from? I'm giving Salford one more chance. Salford by 4. That's it. We're done.
Yeah, well, I mean, we haven't upset the Salford fans this week now by all but me tipping them to win.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll upset
Well,
somebody.
we'll have upset someone, I've no doubt. Thanks to you for watching, listening. Share, retweet, whatever. We'll see you next week. If we're wrong, we're wrong, but we'll be back next
The
Monday.
thing is, we want to be wrong. It's called uncertainty of outcome.
I want to be right.
No, we want to be wrong. We want to be able to not predict.
Yeah,
Mind
that's
you,
fair
we've
enough.
never
Yeah, but
been
you can still
we've
predict
never
them
been
right.
able- yeah.
Anyway, we'll have an argument elsewhere. We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot.